No, you're measuring the angular distance between a star and a point on the horizon.
A point on the
That's it.
horizon?
All right,
So-
are you going to do it? Or
Sorry,
are you
the
just
point
gonna
on the
sit down and
horizon?
try and play
Sorry,
word
Bob,
games?
stop. I've got about 10
right,
quotes
well-
of you saying the horizon's not needed on QE's channel. It was trimmed out by YouTube also. Shout out to you.
So you don't need a horizon with a sextant, no.
Go ahead.
Saying the horizon.
Go ahead
There's
and
he chanting through me.
or move
Why
on.
is he chanting through me? I don't get it. What's wrong?
You don't need
And-
a horizon for a sextant.
Why is he chanting through me? I'm clarifying that you specifically on this show told us you don't need the horizon. What's going on?
So you don't need a horizon with a sextant, no.
You unlock this door with the key of
retardation.
Beyond it is another dimension. You're moving into a land of
Bullshittery.
You've just crossed over into
the numpty zone.
You are so dumb. Damn.
No, you're measuring the angular distance between a star and a point on the horizon.
A point on the
That's it.
horizon?
All right,
So-
are you going to do it? or are
Sorry,
you
the
just
point
gonna
on the
sit down and
horizon?
try and play
Sorry,
word
Bob,
games?
stop. I've got about 10
right,
quotes
well-
of you saying the horizon's not needed on QE's channel. It was trimmed out by YouTube also. Shout out to you.
So you don't need a horizon with a sextant, no.
Don't need. You sound
I do this.
a little bit quivery in your voice there, Bob. You don't need the horizon.
Of course not.
No, you're measuring the angular distance between a star and a point on the horizon.
So you don't need a horizon with a sextant, no.
Hey, I've got a sextant challenge for you in the timeout chat. It'll prove that celestial navigation, which is based on spherical trigonometry, works. Nope, got to have a triangle for that. No, there's no triangle. No, there's no triangle. But you're more than welcome to use flat earth trig to do it. No, there's no triangle. No, there's no triangle.
That we will require spherical trig to do this. Will we or won't we?
Absolutely.
Well, okay, how are we going to do that without triangles, Bob? Do you want to define what trig is? The two different trigs. If we're not going to need triangles, can you define what that means?
Busted! Numpty dipshit! You're a retard! Unbelievable, folks.
Seriously, Bob, you've laid out a challenge, but when we come to clarify how it'll prove for sphere Earth, you said we could either use flat Earth trig or we could use spherical trig. But then you've gone on to deny triangles.
No, there's no triangle. No, there's no triangle.
Got a question there, Bobberoonie. If there's no triangle, bum sniffer, then why do we need to use trigonometry, which is the study of triangles?
I don't get the... I seriously don't get the mentality that would do this. It's humiliating for you.
Turn out the lights.
Double speaking, tender clown space monkey.
The party's over. They say that all good things must end.
Ballers scattered on dawn's highway bleeding. Fallacies and refravity crowd their fragile eggshell minds.
So what's trig? For the audience's benefit, this dumbfounded silence is what you get when you become a fundamentalist religious zealot chanting about measuring angles on a curved surface. You start denying that you're doing triangulation, or that you even need triangles, or that there's even adjacent that you need at all. That's what you get to. Do you realise how stupid you sound?
Oh, well, everybody's heard about the bird. The bird's a winner.
You're a clown. And we're off. As usual, if you'd like to support this channel, there are PayPal and Patreon links in the info box below. Happy Independence Day to all you Americans out there. Even though we never left the crown. We don't have to get into that right now. So, happy 4th, baby. The beautiful Betty Van Velsen. Is she out there?
Yes, I'm here.
No Independence Day for you.
Nope. Sick cat day.
Oh, yeah. That's not a
So,
good day.
about that's July 4th, huh? Can you sort of give us a little bit update how it happened? 4th of July. What happened? Was that America against Britain or North against South? I forgot.
I can't be arsed.
Oh, come on. But I am asking you a question. You guys are so on about the 4th of July. At least you need to know what it's about.
I'm going to compromise my lack of historical accuracy.
See, I knew that this was going to be a contentless.
Listen, I'm just in it for the burgers and the fireworks.
Yes, sweetheart, but you brought it up, so I thought there must be something more in depth that goes along with this.
I'm sure there is. I just can't tell you.
Does anybody else know this?
Yes, they do.
Who does? Adam? Do you
Adam
have
doesn't
Field of
know.
Laws of America?
It's the date of your Declaration of Independence from us.
Seemingly.
Well, certainly. The bereavement of the populace, yeah.
Supposed.
That's what I'm saying. We don't, like I said in the intro, we don't need to go there. Okay.
Go
Know
where?
that you're still my bitch, Neil.
Muppets.
Well, I'm not under the assumption that America's free of England. I'm not 10th man.
Is this a jab at 10th man?
That's, jeez.
Okay, so we have here is a lack of historical things, but still a lot under the hood going on, right?
I knew they
right?
signed the Declaration of Independence then, but I thought you wanted more than that.
Yeah, a little bit more. It's not about North and South. Did that come later?
Not about
That's the Civil War.
Yeah. When did the Civil War come about? Then afterwards, right?
1863, supposedly.
So afterwards.
Yeah, much afterwards.
Great series though with Patrick Swayze.
Oh, brother.
Yeah. You should see it sometimes, then, John. You will sort of get your history lessons up.
I was never good at history. I really wasn't.
Then you didn't read the Bible in a full.
No,
way.
I got
all
most of my history from the Bible. I'm talking about in academia. That is not. I didn't take any history colleges at university. That's for sure. I'm talking junior high and high school. It just bored me.
Why?
I don't know. I could never keep my attention span on it. Like I'd pass the test, right? Because I'd just memorize and regurgitate. But it never. I guess I have more of an appreciation for it now than then.
Because it was made up.
It's a lot of work, right, to keep it up. And history, it is so much. Right? There's so much out there.
Yes.
And we also know that most of it might not even be even happened that way.
That's another problem. That's another excuse that I had later on.
Hold on. Look what they're teaching in the school books about 9/11. So, come on. So how do I know what happened in 1776? What they taught me. Are they teaching that in England?
Yeah, true.
We're giving a brief history about what to say to you with regards to this matter, so that you still think you're free.
It's the colonies, right? You just learn about the colonies uprising or something.
You know what
You
I like
learn
about
more about the Commonwealth as a British student. You don't really. It's kind of, you get a bit of Boston Tea Party, and then they kicked off, so we told them to sod off. La la la.
and then you
The
begin.
majority of our history would be
I tell you, it's weird. My son, he really likes history. What they do with American history is they do. So part of the curriculum over here is it's a weird one because it's paradigm painting, which is, I suppose, the point of teaching history. You're trying to teach a story, particular rhetoric. But there's a bit of civil war, but the main push is the discovery of the West. It was just brave pioneers, heading west and discovering America. That's the bit we do get of American history.
Columbus?
Nah, not really. We do not a great deal of our own. There's a lot of German. My lad did like the gap between the First and Second World Wehrmacht Germany and then Hitler's Germany. Kind of weird that that's on the curriculum, but we don't do Henry VIII or anything like that.
Yeah, they have certain items that they want to sort of stress out, right? Like the world wars and stuff. But others they don't really sort of, Because
that's what I say. The topics they pick seem to have a hidden rhetoric behind them. Like I say, it's not. If you do history in England, you're not doing English history primarily first. It's.
Yeah. Well, same here in Holland, right? We did.
From what I see,
hold on, Neil.
Oh, I'm sorry, someone was talking.
Hold on, yeah.
Excuse
Betty was talking. Just relax, Neil. We'll get to you.
We had an 80-year during war. We had an 80-year war with Spain, for example. We never hear anything about that anymore. So we also had wars with England, but that we hardly ever hear anything about in the history lessons at school. You guys sort of stole everything that we had, all the ports and stuff.
Got rid of it quickly, so you didn't look so impugned as guilty.
Then the Germans took their bikes.
Yes, also. And they did it just in 5 years. Imagine what the Spanish could have done in 80, right? It's like weird.
Good.
You get
you done?
excuses or like apologies from the Spanish people or no, right? It's weird.
All right, can we get to Neil? He was one get in there.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Neil.
I was just gonna say what I learned about the Bolshevik Revolution is it scared the heck out of all the people that were in power, and that's why the World War started. They couldn't have that happening everywhere. Common folk couldn't come in and just take over. God forbid. Let's start a war.
The weird thing is that whole guy that started the communism came from America.
And who was it?
Trotsky.
Ah, Trotsky. Uh-huh.
Yeah. He was educated in America, and they captured him, I think, in some port in either Canada or somewhere in America, and they wanted to keep him from leaving the country, and he just got a pass. Someone sort of passed a sort of something legislation and said, okay, you can go, and then he started that whole revolution, communist revolution there. So what happened? Will we ever know the depth of those things?
No.
Yeah. So why is America, the Royal America, so to speak, what do they have to do with the whole communism thing, which they sort of basically started themselves and then had to fight it? It's weird. For me, the whole world is just a stage, right?
Yes.
Everything is being set up, and all people sort of fall for it, and because nobody wants to make war with their neighbors. Nobody, for real. If they are, they need to be institutionalized.
Huh?
I mean, nobody in the right mind is going to get up and in arms and just go fight their neighboring countries or whatever.
It's not built in man to kill. That's for sure.
That may be, but only when they are threatened or they want more power. So who are the ones that want more power? Not the ones that have the jobs and doing the things that they normally do, right? The regular people. But the ones that already have the money, those want the power.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You never know. You never know which way we're going to go here.
So how do you celebrate 4th of July anyway?
In England, they ain't celebrating the 4th of July in England.
No, with you. I'm asking you. And Neil, because he's also American, right?
Fireworks and barbecue.
Everything has to do with food and guns or gunpowder. It doesn't.
Yes.
You guys are gunpowder and
Gunpowder and barbecues, baby.
Fireworks that we get from China.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but you know what?
I've been banned from using fireworks. I'm not allowed to anymore.
Ooh. Why's that?
We almost set the neighbor's house on fire, and the dog came walking in with a burned patch of hair. So the wife said no more.
That's a good point. I was just gonna speak to that because there's not too many fireworks going on here. The surrounding community, it's too dry here, so a lot of places have kind of canceled them.
So there weren't any dry and hot summers before?
There were, and they canceled them before. Few and far between. I knew it was bad when I didn't hear them go off last night because last night's usually the big night for fireworks. Not only today, but last night. And somebody that lives by me that's outside city limits usually has a pretty good fireworks show. We just go out on the porch and watch theirs. But it was nothing. You can't do it. It's too dangerous.
So you're talking about local, like your own people doing it, not like in New York. They have the Macy's firework display, and that's all on the water.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, that's just a local thing. So for me, it's kind of
there's a lot of fireworks going on right now.
No, they'll wait till this evening.
France.
Oh.
So in France.
That's disappointing.
In France, there's a lot of people now in the banlieues. That's basically the suburbs, right? They are burning cars and looting, and like Floyd situation with the BLM in America. That's now happening in France.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
They try to keep it quiet, but there's sort of like a civil war now going on in France itself.
Yeah, France is burning, baby.
No,
Muslim fire.
They are on fire.
Why do you sound so excited, Adam?
Like France.
Oh, I forgot of that.
If I'm being honest.
Didn't like France that much.
They had it coming. Didn't they, Betty? Really? They've had it coming.
No, the thing is that in these banlieues, there's a lot of immigrants, and they don't have a lot of income there, and they feel that they're being discriminated upon, like in America with the colored people. So there was a guy shot by the police. He was in a 17-year-old boy, I think, and he was in a car, really expensive car, and that police guy sort of said in French, like, "Stop it, or I'm gonna shoot your head off," something like that. And the guy sort of fled with the car, but not before the guy, the cop shot. Oh, I don't know if it was through the head or whatever, but at least he died, and that's what all the excitement now is about.
Oh, hey everyone.
Brian.
What's going on in France is very similar to what's going on in the US. They're bringing in Europe in general, but it's really showing up in France. They're bringing in a lot of people as immigrants, as let's say people who have to leave their own countries, and giving them asylum and making them citizens and getting them to vote for the party that's bringing them in to keep that party in power. Because just like in the US, where they're bringing lots of people from across the border in and giving them citizenship and different things, and then getting them to vote for one of the parties in the US, because that's the best. Yeah, that's the best way to make sure you're going to beat the other party. So they're bringing in people who are obviously not from that country, and this started years ago. So they end up with a situation where they have loads of votes coming from people who will vote for them, even if they know that the people are voting for a lot of lawyers. They'll vote for them because they know that those people will give them something if they vote for them, kind of thing. It's not much different than what's happening with the people from south of the border in the US. In that
Same
way.
exact thing, Brian. Say you got a mansion, and people just keep coming into your mansion. Eventually, there's not going to be enough food to feed your family, and that's what's going on. Sorry,
I don't think it is. I think it's a lot more sinister than that. If we're getting conspiratorial, these aren't refugees. These are young men that are flooding. Certainly, if you look into the UK, all our travel lodges, all our spare capacity is taken. They're full. The same's happening in Ireland now. They're starting to realise.
same thing in New York.
And France has already filled up, and now you see what you're seeing. It's a bit like the George Floyd, where the black card was pressed. This is very different. This is young Muslim men that have been kicked out of their own countries. If you listen to some of the imams from a few years ago warning what's happening, these countries are getting rid of all their kind of crap and sending them out as angry young men. There is a divide in a lot of the Western countries, and that's not to say there's not good Muslim communities. There are, of course there are, but there's a lot of people that have got the only link is that they're Muslim. Yeah, they've got nothing else to do with Britain or anything, because they're all immigrants that have come over in the past couple of years on boats. And these aren't made up of communities like previous waves of immigration. They're made up of young men fighting age. And all across Europe, there's standing armies in your hotels, in your travel lodges of young, fit men. That's what's happening now, and what you've seen is that erupt in France. You've seen these young, fit men take to the streets. The police, these are the French police, Betty, and they don't know how to deal with it. Yeah, the French police. You've seen them use rubber bullets. They don't know what to do, or they're allowing them to do this. A bit like with the George Floyd crap, BLM stuff in America. The police are allowing this civil unrest to unfold.
Well, it's order up chaos, right? It's like
it's problem, reaction, solution.
Also, yeah, there's a lot of things going on with that as well. And the thing is that they try to mix and have the Europeans not have an identity anymore, right? They want to mix them so much up so that the whole purebred European doesn't exist anymore.
We're British, so we never did. We're mongrels. I'm proud of it.
I don't
but
I see you.
I don't think it's so much about the destruction of European heritage. I think it's about the destruction of society. If you look at countries like Hungary have refused this immigration, and they're castigated by the lefty liberals as racist. They're not. They're saying we're not allowing an influx of lots of people of a very different ideology into the country because it will disrupt our country.
Yep.
Yeah. If you want to let people in, they're respective of our choice, but they say to understand we don't want societal change like that. So any immigration will be controlled to the benefit of the populace that already lives here. That's not what's happening in the European Union. It's the main reason for Brexit, Bay. That's why the British people said enough's enough.
It didn't help, did it?
No, there's even more coming over because the French. Because the French are basically saying, go on, get on a boat, off you go, you poor sod. You can't get sanctuary here in free Europe. You need to get to Britain.
No, it's not.
That's nonsensical.
There is something overarching that they want every European country also your like island also run over by immigrants. Of course, you can't be exempt from that because you're part of that whole part of like the Western world that they want to kill, basically. So what I find interesting is that the Jewish can have a Jewish state, right? And they can sort of preserve that because they have their identities. And when you say you want to preserve the Dutch identity, for example, then you get sort of discriminated upon because of that. You know, you can't say that you want just have your own country with your own people. You can't say that anymore. And I think that
Can and will.
there's something wrong with that. That there's a one country that can do that, and the rest, and that's okay, right? And we all sort of revere that, and that's it's the Jews, right? But then I'm thinking, we want that too for our countries.
Well, yeah, but
and there's nothing wrong with that, I think.
Yeah, and that's not based on creed or anything. It's based on an ideology of a nation. That's what you want, okay? And that's what's being destroyed.
Exactly.
Yeah. Individual ideology. The European Union, they tried it first, so we became European instead of you being Dutch, me being English, yeah, Brian being Irish, yeah. We started to become European, whatever that meant. That didn't work. But what you are seeing is a destruction of national identity, and certainly in Britain, if you fly a Union Jack, there's a hint of racism given to it, and that's been for many years, and that's to destroy your national identity.
Yes,
because we're all one, you know. It's woolly liberalness for a hidden purpose, isn't it? And I say that's what you've seen. But why else would countries allow this? Britain can't. We're a tiny little island. Just from practical purposes, we can't cope with this amount and support them. Yeah? And they play on Britain's national identity of being a haven years. This isn't about amnesty. This isn't about, you know, refugees. This is about economic migration that's occurring. Fundamentally, there's a real benefit to crossing the channel. Yeah, because you don't get the benefit. You've got the freedom in France, but you don't get the money. That's why people cross to Britain. And if I was in the same boat, would I do the same? Yeah, there's a shitload of free money over there. Mobile phones, all sorts of perks.
Yeah, free energy, free houses, etc. Yep.
In Ireland, it's rare to see the tricolour flag flying from someone's house now. You don't see that anymore because they use the whole situation that happened in the north to make people feel like if they put out the tricolour, that they're like a terrorist. This is what they try to do. So it's. I actually saw, and I noted it when I was out for a drive there some while back. I saw the Irish flag flying from the side of someone's house, and I was happy to see it because I realised I don't see it anymore. Because when you put it out, you're made out to be, the government want to make people out to be, you know, like they're involved in a terror group or whatever. They don't, not saying that they say it exactly like that, but they're trying to create a public view of the Irish flag like that. Now, when it comes to the immigration thing, the Irish government are great at handing things out and then not putting any planning into anything. The whole immigration thing of a lot of young people or people from the Middle East coming here won't work because we don't have the cities. We have mostly towns. We have only one real city in the Republic, and that's Dublin. The other what they call cities are only big towns. You know, even Cork, which is supposed to be the second biggest city in Ireland, it's a city. Only in Holland, it would only be called a small city. It would be about the size of Haarlem in Holland. You know, it's not even. You know, we don't have the cities, so they end up putting some of these people into smaller towns. And if I went to a small town, just like a small town anywhere, you're not trusted. And if you start getting out of line, the locals will give you a hard time. And that's what started happening, is that there was some guys in a small town, not too far away from where I live. I think it's the next county over. And they were from the Middle East or whatever. And they started messing around, and a load of guys came out of a pub and bet them up. You know, something like that. I don't know the full details, but there's this kind of stuff going on. So the only place they can really put a lot of refugees is maybe Dublin. And even at that, Dublin's a small city. If you put Dublin in the UK, it wouldn't be considered a big city. You know what I mean? It would be considered a mid-sized city maybe at best. It's not a big city, so you can only put so many people there. And there's already a huge amount of people, well, not when I say huge, as in per head of population, coming there to live there from other parts of Europe and other parts of the world. So you can't just bring a load of immigrants and just put them in there and expect everything to go okay. It won't. So you end up with a lot of people living in tents who are from other places. And it's just, I suppose the place turning a bit volatile in Dublin. I don't know. I don't pay much attention to it. I focus on flat earth, and that's what I focus on. But I know that what I just said there is the information I have on it.
Yeah, and these cultures that come in, they sometimes have like issues with one another, you know. So their problems, they bring their problems into our country, right? So, for example, if we have a lot of Ukrainians now, but we might also have maybe Russians here. That might be in the future also maybe a problem or cause a problem. People from Somalia, people from Ethiopia, all these African countries, right? So you have to basically be careful what you get into your country. If you bring two fighting people into your house, do you think that will stop because they are in your house? I mean, I don't think so, you know.
So anyway, I think from that, all of Europe's about to start burning. I don't think this will be France's unique.
Oh no, but France is
there's a
usually
lot of
first. People are very, very like volatile themselves. I mean, earlier on there was like big demonstrations because of the age of retirement. Many of these French went to the street to just protest against what the government did. They just said, okay, now you can't retire at 62, and now we have to work till 64, right? I think it's only 2 years longer. And we in Holland, we have to work till 69 or 70 maybe in the near future. So we are thinking like, what are they on about? But then again, these people are prone to just go to the streets and protest. And so I sometimes think that they use this as this sort of revolution that's going on now with the immigrants, that they want to impose like martial law and whatever, so that also the French people themselves can't demonstrate no more, right? And because they want to sort of curb that, so that they can't be on the streets and they have easy going for the next rules that they want to impose on people.
How did a celebration Independence Day here in the United States all of a sudden come down to whining from Eurotrash about their problem?
Eurotrash?
Let's get back to fireworks.
What I want to know.
We have fireworks.
What I want to know is what is it that's really happening that they're distracting us with the stuff in France? What stuff do we not know about that we'll find out about in 2 weeks' time? That's what we need to know about. If we need to talk about anything. Happy Independence Day, by the way.
Thank you. Go ahead, Betty, because I heard some doth protesting.
You came from Europe. A couple of generations back, you were here.
No, I wasn't. I was born here in the good old USA.
Yeah, you were born there, but that doesn't mean that you are really not a European by origin.
So you're saying I was the spawn of Eurotrash?
Absolutely. And now you're there. So what happens now?
Fireworks and barbecues.
How's that Waigu? Is that on the Barbie already or not?
Nah, not yet. People have been asking me. I've had a lot of stuff happen over the past few weeks, and I haven't got to it. But when I do, I'll let you know.
Huh. Okay. Maybe you should save that money for other bigger, better times.
Like arrows.
Yeah, many of them.
Yes.
They're bound to come to Missouri as well.
Yeah. You know what? I do want to switch gears. No, it's interesting to get the point of view, because I don't think I don't get a lot of information about what's happening over there. I get the information from you guys. So, and I know the audience, maybe they might not like hearing about this. Oh, by the way, the Earth's flat, right? We've killed that. Now we want to get some information about what's actually happening, you know, in the world from boots on the ground. And I enjoy listening to it. I really do, because I'm not getting that information.
That's history in the making, huh? So that you don't have to learn it afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. He says yeah.
Yeah. I like it. That's why I let her budge. I let you guys go. I enjoy hearing it. I'm sure the audience members do too. Unless
somebody says, "Huey the Viking."
Somebody said that. Where'd they say that? I'm not a Viking.
I don't think that you're like the Viking type.
What the hell does that mean?
Right?
What the hell does that mean?
That means that you're not a Scandinavian.
I'm not a what the hell?
Scandinavian, Norway, Sweden, Finland, Scandinavia.
I don't have to be from an ethnicity or a nationality to have the Viking mentality.
Yes, you do.
That's racist.
I knew it. Well, I did make a thumbnail where you were a Viking, I think. Was a kind of cute one. I don't see that one up much, by the way.
Huh. Did we put it in the slideshow?
Don't think you put it in the slides, did you?
We're going to have to find that one. I kind of faintly remember it. Maybe we'll have to find that one.
Yeah, you're not shooting at hippos in a fishbowl that time, but you were shooting at a well, basically the globe on a barge that is off to sea and then set on fire, you know?
Oh, yeah, that one. Yeah.
Viking burial.
Yes, that was a good one. I like that one. I remember you posted that one. I said, that's a show.
Yeah, and then you had some remark about the horns on your cap.
Oh, that's right. That's correct. Yeah. Look at you.
Yeah.
Reminiscing.
Yeah.
Hey, so you know what? I do have, remember I said I was substanceless?
Contentless, I heard.
Well, it was a substanceless show for today, but I got something I wanted to bring up. It was something I heard.
Not though, is it?
Say again?
Not though.
Not
totally substanceless. We are waiting for a report, the blind spot report.
We'll get to that. We'll get to blind.
I don't want to say it was totally substanceless. I've been waiting a week for this.
No.
Being patient and polite.
No, I said I was substanceless for today, not you guys.
I'm pretty substanceless. I just want to hear the report. But, yeah.
Can we have that on writing?
Currently. Currently.
Oh, sorry.
And not totally always.
I'm like
very full of substance at the moment, actually. I'm trying to get it together for Saturday.
Oh, you know what? Hold that thought. Yeah, you know what? Before we get into some substance, because I don't think Blind Spot is ready for his report. By the way, I just got that feeling. But
how dare you?
How dare I? Yeah, but that's okay.
How dare you?
He's probably cramming. You can cram for another 10 or 15 minutes because that's
go
good.
ahead. I'm ready whenever.
Okay, that's a good point, Adam. Because now. Let's deal with this now. Are you and Brian, and thanks, Brian, for coming, are you going to have this ready for Ballbusters?
Of course we will.
Okay, here's plan. There's a change of plans because Ballbusters might run Friday.
Oh, that's so much better for me.
Is it?
All right.
Yeah, because it's my mother-in-law's birthday. I know you're not going to believe
Oh my
God. And I did. I said, oh, no. But luckily they're old, so we were going to have tea early and try and get it all done so I could come up to the shed for, 8:30. But I'm not fussed either way.
Let's just go with it right now, so I don't keep you in limbo. Let's just go for Friday at 2:00 for the next Ballbusters. Betty, we need a thumbnail for Friday, and Adam's going to be discussing time zones and Bearing Straight. Adam and Brian, it's going to be both of their presentations on Ballbusters.
Brian, we need to talk tomorrow night. I'm halfway there.
Yeah.
Time zones.
Or maybe after this, Bri.
Yeah, or maybe, because Friday's going to creep up really fast.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I've been working on. I haven't communicated with Adam. I was going to say, if he didn't ask me, yeah, me and Adam have been on the phone all weekend. It's totally happening. But none of that. That's a total lie.
Yeah, but Bri, I've got faith in you. You've got faith in me. We'll smash it together later tonight, tomorrow. I know the stuff I want to say, and I know Brian's stuff is slightly different to mine because he's Australia, America focused. I've been trying not to detail on that. I've got a couple of nice slides.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll be good even Friday.
Okay. Yeah. Let's just go with Friday for right now. The reason being is I'm up in the air because I got an archery tournament on Saturday, but I'm sort of up in the air on whether I'm going to go or not based on a buddy's schedule. So let's just roll. We're rolling with Friday any damn way. So it's Friday at 2 p.m. How about that? Just make a command decision about it and just roll with Friday. Okay?
8 o'clock London time then. For us.
2:00. That would be 8:00. Yes.
Yeah, that's fine by me. Yeah. Me and Adam will have that together.
Okay.
You're going to be free 9 o'clock Dutch time, Betty.
I won't be there as well on Fridays.
That's some bullshit right there, man.
No, I need to iron clothes at my
pants. I got to do my hair. Yeah.
Polishing and
Yeah. And I knew there was going to be some people in here because Nathan hasn't had a show in 2 days, and I know they're chomping at the bit, man.
You can't cancel. So.
I couldn't I couldn't. I thought about it, and Monday morning I made a decision. I made it before Nathan's. I knew he was going to have some computer issues. And I knew that I couldn't, take off today. So we're good.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's get into that little.
Nathan, huh?
Say again?
Well, some craziness with Nathan's computer then.
Yeah, he got a new computer, but it really hasn't been up to snuff, and it's struggling. I could tell it's taking its toll on him. So I think this time that he's going to get it squared before he goes live again. It's going to be squared. So I think the computer problems could be things of the past with him. I like I said, it's not treating him well. Follow? So I think that he's going to make doubly sure this time. He's got a lot of stuff happening, a lot more stuff than I do here to run my show. So hopefully he gets that stuff squared away at some point this week. Yeah.
Yeah, we got a super chat.
No way.
Yes way.
yes way.
Yes way. Into the break says, "Can I ask a question?"
Oh, here we go again. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. I will read them out.
Axe away.
Axe away. Yeah.
Now,
Hello. Happy 4th of July.
Oh, there he is.
Oh, he's in here.
I only bring this up as a tribute to the forefathers that were, building the Midwest and, even the Scandinavians and their axe making. And so the question is of inertia and of gravity. And when you've used an axe, you've hung an axe head, right?
Yep.
and you can bang the bottom of the axe head, and the weight of the axe sort of keeps it in place, and so it kind of climbs down the handle, so it seats it properly so that you can chop wood, right? And so you can bang it you can have it facing straight up, and you can bang the bottom of it, and you can face it in all directions, including down. So you hang an axe head, so you're hanging an axe. And so the question is, if it's inertia and there's a force pulling the axe head down, and you're adding a force to it, I think that any sort of inclined direction would only pop the axe head off. But instead, because there is no force pulling the axe head down, when you bang the axe head from the top down, give it an actual downward physical force, the axe seats and doesn't go down, doesn't move. And the only explanation I've seen for hanging an axe head is that when you bang the wood, it becomes liquefied and reverberates and becomes liquid, and then sinks into it without effort from this supposed other downward force. This has just been baffling me. I've been thinking about it for months now.
Boy, that's a
so I don't know. It's not a question. I had a statement.
That's a twist that I wasn't ready for.
I'm trying to comprehend it. It was.
Open to Adam.
Well, just to try and. Are you saying that in terms of sheer forces on the axe head, there doesn't appear to be any mitigation for an additional always downward force when you engage it in a striking motion?
No, not when in practice and using an axe practically, but practically applying inertia, right, to actually seat the axe head. This is before you would use the axe head. So to actually get it onto the axe handle properly, you want it to have a nice wedge in there. And in doing so, you hang. It's called hanging an axe head. So you actually just hang. You put the axe head on there kind of snug onto the handle, and then you let it hang, and then you take a mallet and then you bang the top of it and you add a downward force. And because of inertia, it doesn't want to move. But I would think that wouldn't work if there's some force that's actually wanting to pull it down. You would only be adding to a downward force. And so you could never hang an axe head. You would only have to be able to like prop an axe head and then bang it from, put it straight up and down and then bang it from the bottom. But that's not how you hang an axe head.
I don't know how you hang axe heads. Is that? I'm trying to picture it because I'm learning it. So you've got it upside down. You've put it on. You've mounted it, but you've not fixed it. So you're going to put it on. So surely the tapping point is to use density disequilibrium to attain that central point of gravity of the axe head where it sits flush and correct. Is that not? I'm lost. If I'm as to the point, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, similar. So you put it on there. It's got some friction fit, but it could fall off. If you were to swing it, maybe it would fly off in another direction. But it's snug enough to where when you're hanging it, and that's why it's called hanging an axe head, and it's falling down, and it seems to be falling down because you picked it up. If there was something still pulling it down, I don't think you would be able to seat the axe head to get it nice and firmly snug into the axe handle in the method that is done, because there would be a force pulling it, and so you adding a force by hammering the top, or which would be the bottom. So we're talking about orientation of the axe handle and the axe. Then you'd be adding to a force down, and I don't think you would be able to hang an axe head that way. If there was such thing as force pulling the axe head, if there was such thing as mass, my ass pulling the axe head down. Yeah, but I was just into this, axes, man stuff, guns, knives, all this American stuff. And yeah, I figured today, 4th of July, is a good time for this question.
We answer it the next 4th of July?
It seems that's what it'll take.
Over to Adam.
I'm a bit confused, but I think I'm getting your point. But it seems to be what you would describe as a thing center of gravity. You're trying to align it with that so it's snug. The pivot of the axis is correct on the wood. I'm not sure how adding to an existing force that's not really achieving it, because you're trying to knock it just to get to balance, I would have thought. I'm not even sure how, even if you presuppose gravity, that would, because it would be in a downward motion, trying to get into alignment with a center of gravity, and that doesn't invoke gravity, just as a mechanical description.
Well, that's what's happened is the mechanics of it is that it is hanging, and you have a piece of wood that a big hunk of metal, sharp metal, is hanging on the end of, down by your feet, and it's lifted up off the ground. You lift it up, and you take a mallet, and you hammer the bottom of the axe handle, which is facing up to you. You're hammering down, and the axe doesn't move. It stays in place, and the handle sinks into the axe head that's floating, per se.
Well, the easiest way...
Now it's getting trippy.
The easiest way around that is the area that the axe head is going to eventually cut through would have to have a linear downward vector if gravity was real and was a force. So the area you're cutting through when you're actually using the axe to cut.
No, Brian.
I know.
Not cutting.
No, I know that.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I know that. The point I'm making is, does the air you're cutting through have weight when you are using the axe? Because you're trying to debunk gravity. Yeah, you're just going to come up with a debunk of easy debunk of gravity, a force of gravity. Yeah, the easiest debunk is air. Air doesn't have weight. Objects weigh more in a vacuum. If air had weight, objects would weigh less in a vacuum.
I can debunk it. I can debunk it easier.
I don't think that's the point. I think he's trying to say, in terms of this alignment principle, an additional force would confuse it. I'm still struggling into the break in terms of how it would not allow what's being mitigated for. I'm not understanding what you're describing, if I'm being honest. I don't think it's that bright. It's about additional forces or summative forces, I assume.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. I don't know. It's just baffling me. It's inertia, and so you can do this in any direction. You can hit it on the side. You can hit it up. It does the same thing every which way, but it's called hanging an axe head because that's just the easiest way.
I think you need to post a video so we have some clue what you're describing, because I think that's the point of confusion. Yeah, video. Put it in the chat.
I will.
Just
Did we break it?
in this moment of silence.
Into the break.
Well, yeah, I was really disappointed earlier. It's 4th of July, and we can't. How un-American is, we don't really have fireworks because, it might burn things. Point of fireworks.
We've got a ton here in Texas. Everyone here's lighting them off. I'm just not allowed to. My wife won't let me. So, but everyone else is lighting them off like crazy around here.
I don't know. Was that a slight against me?
I was disappointed. I didn't offer an indictment.
Well, we don't want to burn down the neighborhood, there, Adam.
Or the whole of Missouri.
Yeah, that would kind of suck. It's hot enough here as it is. Friggin'
aim them upwards to the sky, your fireworks, not at next door's haystack.
But when they go, dude, it's dry as a bone here. That means the grasses and the weeds, they're brown, right? So any little spark and a little wind, do you get the picture?
Do you guys kick ass at like Thanksgiving then with the fireworks?
No.
You do fireworks at Thanksgiving?
No.
It's just a once a year thing.
Why do we do fireworks on Thanksgiving?
Why would we? We do it about a month later.
Because fireworks, Neil, fireworks weren't really invented for celebrating annexation from the British.
Yes, they were.
No, they weren't. It was to celebrate burning Catholics.
Yeah, the Roman candles. I know. I used to have Roman candle fights. Me and my friends in Brooklyn used to shoot Roman candles at each other.
I like that.
Fireworks come during New Year's and 4th of July. That's all I remember as a kid.
We good now?
New Year, QA.
Say again?
Can't be any dry grass then.
What, New Year? That's what I said, New Year's. Yeah, then that's pretty safe time of the year to do it, yeah.
But you don't.
I do, yeah.
You don't.
Yeah, we do. A lot of people do. And if you pour, you bang pots and pans.
He doesn't do any fireworks at New Year's.
I do. Well, when the kids were now me personally, when the kids were younger, that's a lot of that is what we did. I mean, it's more of a kid thing. I've kind of gotten older now. I've heard a lot of big booms in my life. I've caused a lot of kind of big booms in my life.
Wow.
And it's just not doing it for me, sister.
No?
Like shell shock.
Like shell shocked.
Shell shock.
Now, the funny thing is, a couple years ago, we went up to the in-laws, and they live out in the boonies, and there was no problem because we had plenty of rain that summer. And we went up there, and we had I bought a whole boatload of really good fireworks, right? And one was sort of like a bottle rocket, but it was like on steroids. So I set it up in a bottle type fashion, and we were all gathered around. We were quite a distance away. I would say the group was the in-laws and my wife and the kids, but my son came down and my daughter came down and they helped me because they like lighting them up. But I wouldn't let them light this one because it had some, how would you say, some ass to it. So I let them hang.
Some power to it.
Yeah, and I knew it, right? So I put it in between two blocks so the blocks wouldn't move. And I thought I had it secured, but it didn't. And when I lit it, the bottle fell over and pointed right at our group. So you had the in-laws, you had my father-in-law, mother, everyone took off at the same time in different directions. It was the funniest thing because we were running back. The kids were like, "Ah!" And I was running back, and I seen my wife almost flip over in her chair. And I couldn't, in good faith, stop laughing as I saw them because they were moving out. I was looking right at them. And
what happened when it went off?
That thing went off and went screaming by my head.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Right into the group. They couldn't get away fast enough because the fuse was a fast burner. I'll tell you what, it was the funnest 4th of July I ever had in my life. That one.
What comes to mind?
Say again?
What comes to mind? That guy from that movie, right? That Lampoon's movie. What's the name?
National Lampoon's movie.
Chevy Chase.
Yeah, Chevy Chase. right, Mr. Sparky.
Stop.
Mr. Sparky.
Mr. Sparky.
The Griswolds.
The Griswolds, yes.
That's what I've got on screen. I don't know if you can share it, QE.
What are you asking me to share stuff for, Adam?
See, I like this Discord sharing thing.
I like this Discord sharing.
This is what I saw in the week. This is why I got disappointed to say Americans, because this is what I imagine. There you go. Look, in the burbs. And I press play.
Hold up. This isn't going to get me busted, is it?
This is off Twitter. So it's memed all over the place.
Twitter.
Oh, Twitter. Oh, something happened. Let me get back there. What the heck? Watch stream 1 second. It's not letting me watch stream, man.
Why not?
I don't know. 1 second. Let me get out of here. Let me come back. All right. Let's see if I can stop watching. No. Pop out. No. Make it bigger. Dude, how do you make this thing bigger?
Maybe Adam needs to do that.
Says pop out. Stop watching. Let me try it again. It's not gonna work, Adam.
I'm gonna play it here anyway.
I ain't mucking with it.
I'm sorry.
It's better.
Oh, I cut the. Oh, that was smart.
Nice.
So what are we looking at?
We don't know. Adam, put it in the chat so people can watch that. That's pretty good. That's pretty stupid.
It's brilliant.
That freaking shot their fireworks off without shooting them off.
Yeah, really strange.
That was a forced one.
Oh, now I see what the problem is, QE.
What?
You had that little thing in the corner, right? You can still click on it and make it bigger.
I tried to. It wouldn't go bigger.
It's in chat anyway, so people can watch it.
Come on, you need to get in, get out, and have it there.
My friend showed me a video earlier. I'll just be quick. My friend showed me a video earlier that had all this American music playing in it, kind of a 4th of July video, kind of American rock music type stuff playing in it. And there was a guy walking along with a bottle of whiskey in one hand and a snake in the other, drunk. I kind of nailed it. I think it was Florida or something.
Yeah, it sounds about right. Yeah. Sounds like a good time.
Where'd you put it at, Adam?
In the chat.
What chat? Ballbusters? What chat?
No, YouTube chat, like you told people.
No, I told him to put it in this chat. Put it in Ballbusters so I can snatch it.
But you didn't say that. Initially.
Adam!
Are you?
Did he leave?
You might have offended him.
I didn't.
I used to sell fireworks for the boys.
Shut up, Neil!
Used to make a lot of money doing it, too.
Shut the hell up!
You buy them M8s and bring them up to New York where it's illegal. Make that money.
When I was 18, it was what a time, boy. What a time.
Oh, God, forget it. I'm not going through 25 friggin' steps. Put it in YouTube chat and have them watch it. No, I'm not doing it.
It's streamed. It's streamed on the. You could click the top of the Discord, and it had the video.
Thanks. I appreciate that. That's helpful.
Maybe Adam can do it again, and you need to basically be able to get a bigger picture of that. It's possible.
Post it in live stream voice text chat, Adam.
Adam left. He went to get chow or something.
I
When
see
you go buy
it.
some fireworks.
He went to blow off some fireworks. There he is.
Yeah, well, I put the
Posted. I was just about to share it again. If
I
that'll
can't
work.
get into Twitter.
So he's going live again, John. Just go to him.
What?
He's live again in Discord, Adam. So go look at the stream.
I'll put it up.
Yeah, I can
where
see
we
it.
watch. Yeah.
So I got the watch stream, and then when I hit play, it's gonna give me a bugaboo. All right, let's try it.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead, play it, Adam. Look, it grabbed the baby.
Who did that? You gotta put it in the shoe.
This is hysterical.
Yeah. So
this is what I think that every American is like.
yeah. So it was a miniature version of that happened to me.
Too funny.
What are you gonna do, right? Yeah.
Yep. Well, if you watch Funniest Home Videos, you see all the Americans doing that stupid, crazy stuff. And then if you only see that from America, then you might think that it's a land of morons.
That's some friggin' fighting words, man.
Well, a
That
land
was
of
pretty harsh, Betty. Yeah.
morosifists. How about that?
Marasa, I'll tell you, we may do a little bit of fighting amongst ourselves, but you outside people best leave us alone.
Outside people.
That comes from
Betty. It's stubborn and boneheaded.
We populated you.
It's a song. Betty, calm down, Betty.
Calm down. I am calm.
It's a song.
Sadly, Betty, that stupidity is our best hope for liberty. We're screwed.
Yeah.
They don't do it.
And they
We're
all
all
do it on
doomed.
the 4th of July.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a funny dichotomy that we started with that parody. Did you release from the British? But the British are screwed. We're so far under control. We're not allowed guns. We've not got the liberty you have under your amendments. Yeah, that scares the government. That's why you are there. Where America will lead, not in the 80s, 90s, oil way, in terms of freedom. If you guys set yourselves free, Canada falls. Look at that communist state, yeah? And we will fall over here. We just said it for years. Yeah, it's just waiting. But the place it has to happen first is America. You're the ones that will empower that and set it for the rest of the West. The rest of the world doesn't give a shit. Yeah, they're off, leaving us behind. I was talking with Neil the other day, and he didn't realise that like 90% of the world doesn't support Ukraine. They're on Russia's side. There's no embargoes against Russia. It's only our little tiny little world. So good luck on Independence Day, because if not, we are screwed.
Yeah, Betty.
I know, but you guys will get it because you're the instigators, and Russia's gonna hammer on you.
They couldn't hammer a soup sandwich.
I don't think so. I think it's like the two bullies on the block that never fight. I'm sorry. I agree with Mark Sargent on that. Never gonna happen.
I think Russia, or either China and Russia, are going to attack America someday because they want to bite off the snake's head. Basically.
They better do it from a distance.
Submarines. And how about these Chinese that already are in your country by the open borders that you got?
You can't deny the military power of America.
Yeah,
you just gotta hope that the soldiers ain't. Hold on. You gotta hope that the soldiers ain't compromised. That's what you gotta hope.
They are compromised, Neil. You guys have soldiers that are trans now.
Yeah.
The best
Your
of the
soldiers
best
have
are
pronouns.
transitioned. They get a free pass.
Not all of them. Come on, QE, tell them a little something about the military. Not all of them are going to be. There's going to be a little certain percentage.
QE is not going to save the day in this.
I can't. I can't.
Listen, all we need is QE and a bow. That's all we need.
He only has a bow and arrow. He doesn't have ammunition.
I got the pistolche.
Yes, like with
No,
20 rounds, and you're done.
Betty,
it is a
it's
changing of the
hold on.
guard.
Betty, it's obvious you've never seen Red Dawn, okay?
No, there's a change in the guard, Neil. You can feel it. You know how weak New York is. You know how weak.
That's New
times
York.
make the
Hold on. That's New
men.
York. That's New York.
Yeah, and
You got
I think you're forgetting something.
That's the prime real estate of America. It is fallen.
Yeah,
Cares?
You're fallen. You are
not
example.
fallen. Hold on, not fallen. Given to the criminals.
Babylon will fall.
How do you know this is Babylon?
Thanks, Betty.
Oh,
That's
it's
yeah.
The traders, where the traders are, right? Traders in the sense of Wall Street and stuff. It's there.
Oh, there's no traders. There's no ports all over the place. There's no ports in other countries.
Oh, we ain't going down this road. No, turn.
Ports in China, ports in Vietnam.
We ain't going down this road, Neil. Did you hear me the second time?
There's ports everywhere.
You say ports again, I'll
Neil, have
mute
you
your
ever
dumb
swum-
ass.
Can I before?
Word, doesn't he?
Don't let her hoodwink you with her New Amsterdam talk, trying to make
Yeah.
out that New Amsterdam is the centre of all evil. New Amsterdam. What about the old one, the old dirty, smelly one that did all? That's Babylon. That's why I said you handed it on. Dirty
Babylon
bubble.
is America.
No, it's not. That's numpty.
You're the
Yes,
ones
You're
that
way off
did it
base
all.
with that.
We'll see. We'll see.
Dutch.
So, by the way,
Dirty
someone
Dutch.
says in the chat, Betty is rooting for Russia.
I'm rooting for Russia.
I'm not pro-Russia, pro-China, or pro-America. I'm just pro-me. I want to just survive in a world where things are being staged as wars. That's
Well,
what
what
I
did Adam say? He said it right from the beginning. You said it. It's all a stage.
Yes.
Okay, but
I know.
I don't think Russia is the bad guy in this. I
I
don't.
They're at your border.
There's no good guys at all. I think you need to remember when you're talking about the weaknesses America have, you need to remember the amount of billionaires that are in China, and the reason why they became billionaires is because China is a capitalist country. And the same with Russia. There might be in a war now, but when that war is over, Russia will just go into a massive economic boom. If you look at all the big yachts that were owned by Russian billionaires that were seized by different countries when they had to leave them there and abandon them, at their coasts, you know what I mean? You're talking about big business. No one's going to disturb big business. No one's going to do that. So you're not going to have this big massive thing that's going to happen. You'll have wars happening, but they'll be smaller wars, not wars that are going to disturb the massive business that goes on between the US, Russia, China, and any other powerful nation. It's just not going to happen.
The Bible says something different.
Yeah, corporate capitalism is not capitalism. It's
interpretation.
Corporate communism. That's what America has inflicted on it. But anyways, can I ask a question about inertia? If you're adding a force downward on an ox handle,
You already did this. You already did this.
I need to give my report.
I'm just giving tribute to the American forefathers that spread the way for the Midwest to the NorCal, and chopping these big trees down by hand. No chainsaws, by hand.
You know
God
what?
bless.
You know what? Now that you say that, I need a chainsaw.
For what?
I got some trees that are. I got a tree that's like got a branch that's growing a little bit too much, so I got to hack it off, and I don't have anything big enough to hack it off.
an axe?
I don't have an axe.
Crap.
You're going to have to hang that first.
Yeah, I'll have to hang it first. Yeah, I was gonna get it. I'll probably just snatch a hacksaw. Maybe I can get one of my buddies to give me a chainsaw.
No! Why? Perfectly good reason to buy a power tool. You've got
What
a brand,
happened to this
a little bit
substance?
troublesome.
Buy an axe.
I can't.
Buy a knife.
I can't
Buy
hear
a chainsaw.
I can't hear you, Adam. You're getting rumpus by 3 or 4 people.
You want to get yourself a good, high-quality electric Chinese chainsaw.
Chinese.
Solar
Deal with
powered.
that sucker in seconds.
A solar-powered chainsaw.
Go green.
Yeah, that's CO2 neutral, right? So that's good.
A vegan chainsaw.
A vegan one.
Put some broccoli in and away you go.
Too funny.
All right.
It probably won't kill vegetation. It will sort of.
We're going to do this report or not?
You even forgot. I was going to do some substance here about 15 minutes ago. And
You had substance, and that was 45 minutes ago.
Yeah, so I was going to do a little bit of something that came up twice last week. So I was going to, if I can square this away, what the hell is going on here? I've already shared it, so I'm sure you guys will enjoy this. This little topic. So I think somebody came into 24/7. You know who I think it was? It was Roofy.
Wow.
Hey, I'm echoing through you, Betty.
You are?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. It gets sort of a godlike sort of sound to you.
Good little back and forth action going on, right?
Yeah, no, godlike sound, like echo, echo, echo.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for that. I appreciate it.
Hmm.
Now back to the topic. I think it was Roofy came in 24/7, and now I came in about an hour later. It was the aftermath or something, and they said that he was talking about horizontal lines are curved, right? And I think where he's going with this, if you look in the Geodesy, because I've had people post Geodesy citations or geodesic citations and mention that level is curved. So geodesists are like fantasists. I mean, they're not scientists. They're damn morons. So let's go through this. I know, Adam, you're going to appreciate this. So horizontal lines are curved, or sometimes you'll hear them say level is curved, right? So let's find out what level is. And we'll go with Cambridge Dictionary. Level, right up, if I get your attention right up here. Level, not rising or falling or higher on one side, but even in all directions. Horizontal or flat. You follow? So if you say levels can be curved, they're geodesist clowns. You got a kind of a problem. I think we've learned this in maybe 3rd grade. You know what? It was so long ago. I don't know. Maybe we didn't learn it in 3rd grade. At least 6th, right? Let me show you something. Okay, we all know horizontal lines have slope of 0. From Varsity Tutors. I don't even know why I need to provide citation for this, but I will, because I know how numpties you are. So Varsity Tutors, horizontal lines have slope 0, since the rise is 0. From Louisiana Tech, a horizontal line that's parallel to the x-axis has 0 slope. From Arizona State, a horizontal line has slope 0, since it does not rise vertically. That is, y1 minus y2 equals 0. The Baltard's IQ. From study.com, the slope of a horizontal line is always 0, since a 0 slope indicates that a line does not rise vertically. From QMath, The slope of a horizontal is 0. Are you getting the theme here? From ThoughtCo, formerly physicsabot.com, the slope of a horizontal line is always 0. From their alma mater wiki, if a line is horizontal, the slope is 0. You're getting tired of me saying that, right? Because everyone knows that shit. From University of Syracuse, horizontal lines have slope of 0. I like how they put the 0 in parentheses, too. That's pretty funny. From Byjust.com, slope of a horizontal line. If we compare the given equation with the equation of line in the slope-intercept form, have you heard of that, baltards? You geometric numpties. Slope-intercept form, we get y equal mx plus c and y equal k. Well, m is 0. Therefore, the slope of a horizontal line is always equal to 0. You get that? Laughing my friggin' ass off. From the U.S. Naval Academy, curvature is the rate of change of slope. Geodicists, do I have your attention now? You crayon crunching clowns. I'll say it again. Curvature is the rate of change of slope. So, this is a question. How can a horizontal line, which has a slope of 0, have a rate of change of slope that equals slope equal non-zero? That's curvature. Por favor. You bumbling boneheads. That's my substance for today. How you like that? Good?
Cool. I can add to that.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah, Charles Gobert Math has been claiming in recent times that vertical is perpendicular to horizontal, but it's also perpendicular to level, but level is a curved line.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Go ahead.
So how can it... Go on, sorry.
No, go ahead. He just fell right into my trap.
Yeah, that's what he's trying to equivocate. But how can vertical be perpendicular to a curved line and a horizontal line? Perpendicular is clearly defined, yeah? But he's actually gone one step further, right? And I almost made a video about it, but I said I couldn't be bothered, to state that the vertex, which can happen between two curved lines, right? Or two straight lines. The vertex, which is the point of intersection, point, P-O-I-N-T, that is the angle. So he's trying to, they're not just him, I'm sure, really with everyone, they're all trying to hijack the vertex because they can't have an angle using the surface of a sphere. That can't be used for an angle. So they're trying to hijack the vertex and claim the vertex, which is just a point where two lines meet, is the angle. Yet there can't be an angle at a point. It's a point. So that's where they're at.
Can't be an angle if the line is sloping. There was a lot of definitions there. I like the definition of slope. The surface being inclined from a horizontal or vertical line. Definition of slope requires its juxtaposition, its variance from the term horizontal.
Yep.
And it's a rate of change, y equals mx plus c, as you've described.
Yep.
And the m being that rate of change. If it's changing, that's how we describe circles. But that means it can't be horizontal, flat. That first definition you use. What are the similes he uses? Horizontal or flat.
Yeah.
You know, so it's one of two things. It's either retardia, ball-based religion retardia, or it's completely taking things out of a context that they don't mean. So that when I mentioned center of gravity, or if you're making B a specific gravity, you're not referencing bending a 4D space-time. It's just that term references something completely different, i.e. its relative density of the beer with regards to water, its specific gravity. You can use that term. It has no meaning in previous terms of gravity when we were discussing it. And this is their only apologetics I give them, or dumbness. They're going to geodesy and trying to use terms from geodesies which are specific to dealing with a ball, i.e. a level curve, which is, and this goes to Eli's housekeeping question that died. Is level equidistant from the center of a ball? No, it's not. It's concentric, is what they're describing. And that's why we have the word concentric circles. So those parallel, so you don't confuse the term parallel when you're dealing with curvy slopes, or they can become concentric. Words have meanings. And what they're trying to do is take away the meaning here, or like I say, at best, apologetically, stick it into a separate, specific sphere, and then try to elucidate that back outwards, which is what they appear to be doing. But realistically, the words have meanings, guys.
I have more to add to it, because I've been listening to Bevs, because they bring all this rubbish, they bring all these nonsense, crazy geometric claims to Bev, right? They don't come on to FED with them, they don't come here with them, but they do bring them to Bev. And one of the things that Charles Globerg Math was trying to claim, and the ballers are trying to claim, is that there's a book written that's supposed to be involving spherical geometry. And they're trying to claim it was written by Euclid. Now, the first publication of the book was 1996, or something crazy like that. And there's no evidence, like Bev was saying, there's no evidence that this actually Euclid wrote this. But what it's about, they're trying to claim that it's about what they call spherics, right? Spherics, right? But what it's actually referencing is the celestial dome. That's what it's actually referencing. So this book that they're trying to attach to Euclid is actually referencing the celestial dome, and it literally states that, as far as I know, and not a curved surface of the earth. It's that you are at the center experiencing a celestial sphere or celestial dome. So that's what they're just going. They're just trying to hijack every stupid thing they can. Like a vertex is a point, P-O-I-N-T. An angle is two straight lines. That's why you can have a vertex between where two curved lines meet, because it's a point. You know what I mean? They're trying to literally hijack a point and call that an angle, because they're so desperate right now to get an angle using a curved surface. They're trying to turn one curved line and one straight line into an angle. And that's what it's all about.
That's pretty stupid. It's like saying married bachelor. We could use married bachelors for that. Well, you could.
Yeah.
you could if you wanted. But go ahead and use married bachelors there, Baltards.
Well, one of the claims that, because Charles Globerg Math and Lieu, they're all working on the same team with the same stuff. So one of the claims that Charles Globerg Math made in recent times was that a zenith angle doesn't require a horizontal. Now, a zenith angle is just reference from the vertical down to the horizontal, whereas an elevation angle is referenced from the horizontal up to the vertical. They're the exact same thing, just in reverse.
Yep.
So I've asked Charles at least 3 times in comments on YouTube, right? Do you teach, when you're teaching kids geometry, your high school students, whatever, geometry, do you teach them that a zenith angle does not require a horizontal? He will not answer that question.
Yeah.
Because if he says, if you think about it, if he says, yes, I do, then he knows that he's teaching them rubbish. And he knows that everyone else would know that they're being taught rubbish. If he says he doesn't, then it's obvious that he's only spewing out that rubbish online, but he doesn't even have faith in it enough to teach it to the students. So he might be a geometry teacher, but outside of being a geometry teacher, personally, he's got a crazy belief that he's willing to try and bend reality to fit geometrically.
I think he's retarded. Betty, can you still believe that numpty's out here?
The Ruhif Numpty?
No. Charles, Flat Earth Math. You know.
That Numpty. Oh, yeah, there's
Yeah.
They are legion, aren't they?
Yeah. The double blind.
That's our seasonal glober proponent.
He is a seasonal glober. He's a double blind physics experiment guy.
Well, I was going to describe him as a anti-flat earther that has a slow respawn rate. Taking months to come back after a defeat. Hopefully you forgot about the last humiliating time he was on. I'd like to... There's people like Charles, which are one thing, and the use of the language. Why are they doing it? Why are they trying to confuse curved as level as equidistant from a ball? It's because even the reference books they talk about, particularly with celestial navigation, you find the term flat. They're trying to hijack it, yeah? Trying to give it new pronouns. The term flat, yeah? Because they have to, because the things they're going to reference to are quite unequivocally describe flat as horizontal, as we've seen with juxtaposition to the word slope. Yeah? And these are the things they're using in the celestial navigations. So for them to be able to continue on their ball, they've got to redefine these words, because otherwise their reference books do them by their own petard, if you understand it. Point, yeah, they cannot accept those definitions that exist. The contrary, if they accept the term flat and horizontal, as any ancient human being does, it destroys the ball and it destroys their references.
Well, they can get away with it because their target audience are retards, much like them. So you don't usually get somebody that comes out and says to a group of people that level is curved. That usually doesn't happen. Periodically it does. It just depends on how retarded the person is. But you usually don't hear that. You'll hear that on their videos or when they're talking with themselves. Follow?
That's the point they have to get to, and that's the point they're trying to make acceptable. Yeah, they're trying to make it acceptable. That level means flat, but if you describe it as equidistant, then you can get away with it. It's okay, an okay terminology, even though it's nonsensical and defies the definition of the word you're wanting to use, because that's the reference word.
Yeah, it's like when they're trying to say that a curved line can be a straight line. It's like they're trying. Yeah, it's like a straight line is clearly defined, and so is a curved line. You know, a straight line is without curve. A curved line is without straight, right? They're two opposite things. But what they should be describing is a curved line that's non-deviating from its path, let's just say. Something like that, right? But instead they're trying to create a straight line out of a curved line to try and claim great circle routes, something there's no evidence of. Do you know what I mean? This is... I listen, like, I don't care anymore. I listen to Bev's show and that, and I don't care anymore about anything that's said in there about how it's not flat or anything of it. I don't care. I'm just so interested in hearing the rubbish that's coming out of these people. It's unbelievable. Like, it is popcorn time. Like, because you're thinking these people are going into crazy land. Because Bev makes the prediction, and he could be right, that they're going to have to throw out Euclidean geometry, right? Our opposition. We're going to have to throw Euclidean geometry out, because Euclidean geometry is no good to them. Even though it's what creates what they call spherical geometry is just Euclidean geometry. But they can't accept that, because they can't have that. So they're going to have to throw Euclidean geometry out the window. And I think I agree with them. They're going to have to. And then what are they going to do? What reality are you in then?
Yeah, see, we have to take the ball tarts, right? We had stop eating your boogers. Math is fun. This is for kids. Okay, you ready? Ball tart booger eaters. A line that does not curve That's a straight line. You see this? A line that does not curve. In geometry, which you would all fail, by the way, 3rd grade level, a line is always straight. No curves. You understand that? What a friggin' clown show. Thanks.
You ask why? Why? Why would you have to be so retarded? What's your problem, reaction, solution? What's your underlying motive? Change that obvious, clear, concise, sensical description so you can distinguish between straight lines and curved lines, a line with some kind of slope to it. Yeah? Why? What's the only reason? So you can use those words in respect to describing the Earth, which is experienced as flat, to describe it as a ball. The only reason to mix those words up. You don't do it anywhere else. Do you know what I mean? In any other walks of life, because you'd be speaking gibberish. You get me? The only reason is to completely oppose the definition is for the use with regards to a ball Earth.
Do we need to go over it again, Adam?
I think 3 more times, yeah, because it is a complete fantastic description of cognitive dissonance, and then lying to yourself.
So this is from Math is Fun. Okay, this is a definition of a straight line. Look, they even have pictures for you. So
how old is this pitched at? What age group?
Math is Fun. I have to go back. Yeah, it's like elementary school.
I mean, you get me? So we're having to redefine elementary school things.
So, definition of a straight line, a line that does not curve. So, they have it over here, it's in blue. This is a straight line. Now, this is not a level line. It's straight. In geometry, a line is always straight, no curved. And then they put over here, you see the dichotomy. So a straight line, a line that does not curve. Okay? Now get your slobber nurses for the 3rd definition. We're going to take a break here. Try to let that sink in. And then I want you to get your slobber nurses over here to the presentation. We're going to come back here in a few minutes. Over to Adam.
There is no more say than that. You're at primary school level. Reverse the definitions. If it's a curved line, something that's not straight. If it's curved. I'll reiterate the point. Why on God's earth? What's the only reason to do that? Brian, I'm not finished. 3 more go. The only reason is to fit it in some perverted worldview where words don't mean what they mean anymore, but they have to fit in your worldview. It's kind of like the level of sectioning somebody, isn't it? It would actually, I'm sorry, we're going to have to commit you. You actually think that straight means curved, you fucking lunatic.
I should know better than to drink when you're on one of your rants.
Spit out. What I'd like to point out is a prediction I have is that I do agree with Bev that they're going to have to throw out Euclidean geometry, but I predict they have a geometric black swan coming up event because they keep on trying to separate Euclidean geometry from what they're calling spherical geometry, not realizing, because most of them don't know, they literally don't know. I have to tell most of them that spherical geometry is Euclidean geometry. It's all Euclidean geometry from a center point. That's what it is. That's all spherical geometry is. You're creating circles and then based on a radius, and then you're joining them together. That's all you're doing via lines, right? That's how they create what they call a spherical triangle. Total nonsense.
What?
Right? But I know it doesn't exist. But that's what they call these things. But what's going to happen is they're going to throw out Euclidean geometry because they're going to have to. And that's exactly the same as throwing out their geometric horizon. Because when they won't have spherical geometry then, when they throw Euclidean geometry out, because spherical geometry is Euclidean geometry. They're going to have to throw out spherical geometry they're going to do that without knowing it. Just like they did with the geometric horizon. They said, it's refracted. Do you know what I mean? Gone. Then it's gone. They have nothing. Which is the same thing is going to happen with them with geometry. They're going to have to go, Euclidean is out of date or some nonsense like that.
It'll be a new GR, Brian. It'll be geometrical relativity, right? And they'll throw in some dark angles and maybe some vertex energy, and we'll be good to go.
You're not wrong, because that's what they're going to have to do. It's going to be a very dark day when they realize that when they've thrown out Euclidean geometry, that they don't have spherical geometry anymore. Because you can't have spherical geometry without Euclidean. It's it's all just geometry. You can't throw out Euclidean and expect to keep.
All right, we
Euclidean.
got it. We got
You know
it.
what I mean?
The third time we got it, Brian.
I just needed to make sure. That's all.
But I'm going to do a third time. I'm doing the third time too. So it's like pot, meat, kettle.
One more pun. It won't be the bending of space-time. It'll be the bending of straight line. So, there you go.
Relative geometry. Adam, hold on. Relative geometry. What do you think about that, Adam?
Well, this is what they're kind of creating. It's Brian's point. There is no bendy lines in spherical geometry. Everything's calculated with straight lines. There are no bendy lines. You've only got 3 points that you can put a curvy line on. Calculate as a great circle route. Yeah, but they don't exist. If you want to locate those points, you locate them with straight lines. Spherical geometry is Euclidean. Just points on a surface using straight lines. I think that's the point you're making, right?
All right, ball-tard slobber nurses, do I have your attention? This is the last time. Math is fun, okay? Definition of straight line. And there's illustration for you down here. We'll head over there in a second. Just relax. So, a straight line. A line that does not curvy. It's over here in blue. Line straight. See? Then, in geometry, a line is always straight. No curves. None of this shit. All right. Any questions, slobber nurses? Friggin' bozos. Go on. That's it.
Call straight time. I reckon that's coming.
Is it report time now?
Go ahead and ask him, Adam.
Hey, Mr. Blind Spot.
Yo.
Even after this extended delay, 1 hour and 43 minutes. Are you prepared to present your report, sir?
Yeah, no, I am. And maybe if we can start by, Adam, you restating or I can, it doesn't matter.
No,
restating the mission. Yeah.
So, last week, Blind Spot, who joined us, I'm saying, I've discovered you Flat Earth Debate, guys, that it's interesting. I like the cut of your jib. Maybe not his words, but the sentiment. So having chatted with him a little bit, he'd obviously, during this time, we'd been looking at things like upward moving earthers, or Etherians. I held a prestigious title as the emissary for. And I did challenge him to just as a newbie to this scene, to go down a route of either Umi or Etherian, and just see how it would affect his perspective on discovering flat Earth. Does it put him off? Does it encourage him? Or twixt in between? So I'll hand over to you, Blind Spot. That was the challenge, and now you've got the report. So you've subjected yourself to a full week of Etherian education. So
Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, I think just to reiterate the point real quickly, this is me coming to this from a really new perspective to flat Earth to begin with. As QE will tell you, I have a lot to learn, even about some of the core tenets or concepts, the facts, the science of flat Earth. So I'm still learning. I'm really new, and I'm not afraid to admit it. I'll always admit ignorance as long as I can then learn something from that, right? And so I had heard I'm listening to FED, I'm listening to BALLBUSTERS or whatever, and so I hear comments about ether, right, or upward rising Earth or UMEs, whatever you want to say. And so it was an interesting challenge that Adam put forth. And I thought, okay, you know what? I might as well go see what all the talk is about. And so I also want to say none of this is me making affirmations or claims per se. This is just my own personal perspective. So honestly, I mean, no offense to Witsit or anyone else in the audience that might be someone who is a proponent of the ether. That's your bag, right? And not that I'm not a proponent necessarily. We'll see by the time I get to my conclusion. And I do have a conclusion that I think is pretty succinct, but I guess I'll start with giving you a little bit of the, I'll say bibliography, but it's really the videography of what I kind of consumed over the last week, or where I went to go get some data. And I was first directed to Witsit's channel. So the first thing I do is go to the channel, search the channel for the word ether. I misspelled it. Apparently ether with an E is an anesthetic. But then I learned how to properly spell ether, and I came upon a couple of videos. First was a presentation by Witsit called Ether. A second video, actually, someone on the panel here was in that video. That's Brian's Logic, and that was Ether Debate. And so, yeah, I think they're each probably about 2.5, maybe 3 hours. So 6 hours of watching through those a couple of times, actually, as well as FED 1721, FED 1724, which was when Witsit called in to the show, and Nathan and him had a bit of a tussle. So I used those as kind of my primary ways to go. I also viewed some other videos of Witsit that I found pretty interesting. And I'll start out by saying, look, I think he's a smart dude. He presents well. He speaks a bit fast for me, so I do have to rewind sometimes. He gets to going, gets his motor running, and off he goes. And so it's a bit too quick for my meager mind, but nonetheless, here's kind of what I've learned. I'm going to begin with what is ether. That's obviously the question that a lot of people kind of put out first when someone says there is an ether. And from my understanding, their perspective would be that the ether is a proposed logical framework or foundation of interpretation, a philosophical framework. Okay, right, got it. It's an energetic, metaphysical, non-material, right, background that acts as a medium or substance for electromagnetic phenomena. Okay, lots of big words, but I kind of get it. It is what comprises all fields. Really don't know what that means, but I'm sure there's some substance to that claim, but maybe not. Proposed as a non-Cartesian counter space inertia. Oof. All right. It's absolute, and therefore, thus, it cannot be measured. Okay, well, that's frustrating, but okay, we'll go with that claim. And then the medium in which light and electromagnetic phenomena propagates, right? So now if I take my meager brain, I think about this, I take these claims at face value. It's about this background scenery or curtain that hangs over the world that is, by their admission, or by their, it's not that it's an admission per se, but they would affirm that it is immaterial. It is not measurable. It's not quantifiable. It transcends all physical matter. And it cannot be, quote unquote, scienced. Okay. So this is an interesting idea. It's an interesting concept at this point, right? So what can I know about ether? So this is new guy coming into ether. What can I know today about ether? Does ether exist? I don't know. Can I measure the ether? Nope, can't measure it. Is it material or tangible? No. Can I quantify it? No. Okay. Well, so what do I really have here? And this, I think, is what gets to the crux of what Witsit is saying. And he puts forth, I'm going to start with a dichotomy, saying that, look, we have kind of a couple of worldviews where you could theoretically interpret the natural world around you. One of the ones most commonly in use today, we'll say, is this concept of atomism or naturalism or materialism. And he presents ether as an opposing, more logical and viable alternative to that notion. And through the first video, his presentation of ether, he goes through 2.5 hours or whatnot of really proving proving, really asserting, because I haven't done the research, but asserting all of the problems with atomism, right? And I think a lot of us would agree with a lot of the things he points out, right? When we talk about the gravity, the theory of relativity, and all these other notions, right? Yes, this concept of atomism has problems. I agree wholeheartedly. The real issue that I have with the way he phrases it is, therefore, Atheism is the only logical alternative to atomism. And I think that's where it falls a bit apart from me. And he mentions that Atheism is an epistemological framework, and that he juxtapositions these two as the only options. But I just disagree with that. I think there's other epistemological frameworks, whether it be logical positivism or just positivism, solipsism, simulation theory, constructivism, and you can even be an epistemological anarchist, right? And so these are other epistemologies, or how do we know something? That's what epistemology is, right? How do we know what we know? These are other worldviews that we can put forth and we can potentially explore, investigate, test, or whatever. But ultimately, the question came to me is, why am I here? Why am I on QE Live or BALLBUSTERS or hanging out in 24/7 and getting yelled at by QE, right? These are the questions that kind of come to my mind. And the reason is, I was told for 40 years that the universe is this one way. And I never questioned it. And many of us, I think, can share that sentiment in the audience, right? We were told this was how it is. And no alternative hypotheses were presented. And so then I stumbled upon this group of amazing people here that have shown evidence for an alternative to that worldview, or an alternative to what they claim the world is, the earth is, the universe is, how we move about it, so on and so forth. And so I bring up the video that, Brian, you were on, the ether debate, and it really struck me. So this is towards the end of my kind of research. It struck me as probably the most poignant way for me to think about the ether. And at 1 hour, 57 minutes, and 39 seconds is when Whitsitt said, "This isn't about flat Earth. This is an additional subject that people want to learn about." Great. That's awesome. Then go learn about that. But that's not why I'm here, right? The reason I'm here is I want to understand, is this a globe or is it flat, right? Is NASA a thing or is it not a thing? How do I get an elevation angle? How do I understand the Coriolis effect, right? That's why I'm here. And so ultimately that's, is ether possible? Sure, anything's possible, right? Is it the only possibility next to atomism? I don't agree with that. I think that's a false dichotomy. I don't think that's a fair dichotomy. So yeah, ultimately that's my report. And really what I'm interested in is knowing what is observable, repeatable, testable, falsifiable. What can we know about the world we live in? So that's my report, Adam.
You think Whitsitt's smart?
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I do think he's smart. I really do. Yeah.
Neil, just chill. We'll get the
feedback
in a second.
Yeah, Spot. Blind Spot. Thank you for that.
Idiot
that was beautiful.
We know.
Hold on, Neil.
I forget it.
Neil, can you just a bit of respect for the effort that's been paid is all I'm asking for first.
I'm not talking about Blind Spot.
Just shut up then. Yeah? Blind Spot. Thank you. Right. Thank you. That time and effort. Right. I won't use superfluous words because I know people want to comment on it. So I'll nick one from QE. Outstanding. Thank you so much. That was better than I could have, a more honest an appraisal than I could have hoped for. So thank you, sir.
No, I appreciate it. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I love learning about new things, right? And ether is just not what I need right now. And look, maybe 5 or 10 years from now, when I've solidified everything else in my mind and I want to go down some possibilities and new philosophical frameworks, well, then maybe I'll go investigate that. But at least for me, and this is personal, guys, right? This is not me claiming Whitsitt right or wrong. This is just, I don't need this right now. My paradigm, my world, I'm running away from a globe that's chasing me right now. And so my worldview is already, and so again, what was the premise? From a new person to flat Earth, what do you get from ether? And I would argue right now, you just got to be super careful with what you're taking in and go back to positivism, which is what can I know empirically about the world in front of me? Start there. Then you can move into a different avenue. If that's your bag, go for it. But right now, I don't need that. So
I kind of understand the answer, but I want to kind of phrase it a little bit just to bring it back to the original question. I understand you're cognizant enough and have enough critical thinking to have identified it and decided it, as you've described, it's not helpful for you right now. I assume within there was that, I'll ask the question again. If it would it have been your path naturally to have followed? And if that's all you'd have been exposed to as a flat earth, would you have been as enthusiastic as you still are today? That's all you'd have learned about flat earth.
You know, it's a category error, right? And because it's a philosophical framework that is immaterial, not measurable, unquantifiable, and not scienceable, I just see them as utterly different. They're not in the same category. And now Whitsitt does mix them, right? Because he says, right, that we have possibility A of atomism, but that is the wrong framework of interpretation and the wrong philosophical frameworks, foundation of interpretation and philosophical framework to even think about the flat earth. So I see where he's getting at. I see why he's driving there. But to answer your question directly, if I would have came across his channel before I came across FED, for example, yeah, I would have ate that up. Absolutely. Right? Because not only does he dive into the, we'll call it the core tenets of flat earth and using science for empirical evidence. He does that. He does that on his other videos, especially, right? But then he also presents this alternative philosophical framework. And so I do think that's why a lot of people ascribe to that. And that's okay. That's fine for them. It just doesn't fit for me right now. But I think had I stumbled upon there first, absolutely, I would be taking that all in, so to speak.
If I'll finish here, and I think you're blessed with an ability of discernment. What you spoke about there was to identify the differential that we're moving into a field of philosophy, and we're discussing these things. I hope people have that level. I think you're well done, mate. Yeah, that is exactly the mind switch. I've got no problem if we're talking about this in a philosophical term, because I've spoken about this back in the day, with these people before Whitsitt even appeared. No, so brilliant. I hope that discernment goes out. Now, there is one person who was worried about you. Come on, you were worried, and weren't you?
I'm
and
still
you
freaking
doubted my
out. You're
judgment
happy
about
with that
faith in
answer.
blind spot. So,
No.
Neil,
Shut
are
up
you
now.
relieved?
You told me to shut up. Now you shut up. I'm not happy with that freaking answer. I hope you're freaking happy.
Why are you not happy? Where's he gone?
Oh, geez, Adam. Is it something I said?
I don't know. You might have to listen to it again, digest it fully. Neil, you chicken. The point I was going to make, he was worried that suddenly you'd become an Etherean. I think my faith was supported. So, say again, thanks, mate. And I'll open it up to other people if they want to comment. So, thanks. Huey.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
I think he did the mission that you gave him. I think he did it as a new person in, like he said, that he's not up on these subject areas, and it could get a bit confusing. There were some problems with his assessments, but it's not a right or wrong thing at this point. He completed the mission that you gave him. I thought it was quite telling that if he was a new person, this was the most interesting part I found. That if he was a new person and he come in here and that's what he found first, then he would be quite taken by it. So,
it's alluring. It's seductive. You bet.
Yeah.
But it's thanks to, honestly, and it's thanks to you guys really kind of setting my mind right about what can we know about the universe to begin with, that really helped me going in just to think more critically in that vein about it, right? It's so easy to grab onto the next thing. If you've been presented with one and there's cracks in it, then give me the alternative. What is the sun? What is the moon, right? all that, right? It's, you want the answers. And so that's why it's alluring and seductive, because it presents the possibility of many answers. I'm not going to say all the answers. They wouldn't say that either, but many of the answers for quote unquote the phenomena that we might see in the world. And so I see why people definitely ascribe to it. It makes sense. But for me, I just need to know what I can know right now. That's what I need to know. I know it seems circular, but yeah.
So
I
you
think
seem smart enough to have realised that. How far down the road would you go before you rejected it then? Because I don't think very far, because you've already, as you said, identified it as philosophy.
Well, that's just it. What is it, right? And I don't mean what is ether, but what is this framework, right? What is the foundation of it? These are philosophical, epistemological things, right? So maybe I'm a hard solipsist. Maybe this entire conversation, this QE Live episode, is just happening in my head. Well, there's another framework, right, that I can investigate and then disprove through philosophical proofs, right, or whatever. But it isn't science, and admittedly so. Whitsitt says this. It's not science. It's not scienceable. Okay, then I'm not worried about it, right? And it's not that I don't. We all, I would argue, many of us, most of us, know that there is a metaphysical element to the world. I believe that every human has a soul, right? But can I go measure it and weigh it, right, or whatever? No, but I'm okay with that. That's not what I need to know about right now. I'll go to the Bible, right, and go to my epistemology from my faith background to go answer some of those questions. But what I need to know is, can I get a curved an elevation angle from curved adjacent? That's what I need to know right now, right? Am I standing on a spinning ball? That's what I'm interested in right now.
Do you want me to go through his complete assessment, Adam?
I don't think in terms of like there's bits and some of the language you use that like, oh, I wish you hadn't have said that. No, I don't think so. I think what I was interested in was the sentiment,
right?
And there's more understanding in the sentiment than a critical appraisal of the words in terms of us critiquing it as flat earthers. I don't think that's what was asked for. That
right.
Use the word naivety in language. Blind spot is charming because it shows where you're at in terms of the things he said. We'd have picked each other up for that. So I just look at the sentiment of what's in there, and that's what scared Neil, because as you said, you'd have lapped it all up. The interesting thing, like I said, is you made the differentiation, and the interesting point was that Whitsitt poo-poos scientific method as if it's something to be abandoned because we realise it's not the be-all and end-all of creation. But then he proposes, and this is what you're asking, well, what really are you proposing as and this was a question the emissary asked, what is the logical framework that is going to supersede the scientific method that we're going to evaluate things with? And I was pleased. That's what I'm saying. They're the things that interest me, that if I'm going to give marks on, that's like a 10 out of 10. Pick that up, realise that that's the crux of the snake oil shit that's being sold here. As well as you polish this turd, yeah, and strap it up with long words which you picked up, yeah, that's the crux of this. We're replacing the scientific method with something, a new level of proof that we're not able to define that logical framework and how it works. 10 out of 10 for me, because like that's like junior emissary. In fact, god damn it, as the emissary, you a title, junior emissary.
Junior emissary.
You better come back. Yeah.
I've been knighted.
I'm not going to be too critical about it. I'll just take an overview. You started off with a true dichotomy. You said it was a true dichotomy. It's not. That's where your problem lies.
I said it was. Yeah, no, I said it was a dichotomy. It is a dichotomy. I didn't say whether or not it was true or false.
No, it's not.
At least I didn't mean to. Yeah.
No,
Well, I said at the end it was false. Yeah.
I didn't hear
that was my conclusion.
That the dichotomy was true. I heard that you proposed that he presents, and then you qualify it later. He prevents a false dichotomy. presenting that and this is the thing we've chatted in after shows. Shame Brian's gone. Yeah, this is the point. It's either ether or atomism, whatever. And again, you spotted that point. The definition. What does atomism mean? It can mean evolutionist. It depends at what point who you're trying to insult and how you're trying to win the argument at that point. What the term atomist means. It's derogatory in all senses when used by Whitsitt. But I don't think they missed the false dichotomy there. I thought it was highlighted.
Huh. I didn't get that part. But
on
yeah,
my last slide, I actually have the definition of a false dichotomy there, just so I could remember. But that being said, QA, please, you will not offend me. You know that. Feel free to critique it. I was utterly ignorant a week ago, and I'm a little less ignorant today. And so I'm always up to learn. So if there's something I miscategorized or misspoke about, please let me have it. I'm all ears.
Yeah, the elephant in the room where he Jedi mind tricks people is that he claimed many times that FED has stated that ether is not science. That's not what we stated. We said it doesn't exist. So that's where the problem lies. That's where he started his 3-hour bullshit lion surrat campaign. No one caught it. I did. It was an easy one to catch. So
demonstrating his existence would be a good place to start, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Before you try and analyze it.
Yes, because no one claimed that. We claimed, what is it? Before you get to the science of something, you have to demonstrate its existence. Yes? Now, once you demonstrate its existence, if it causes something in the natural world, then please, the floor is yours. But before we get past, we can't get past, you have to show its existence. So his clusterfuck of atomism, which he doesn't have a clue of, he doesn't know what it means, and ether is there. It's a false equivalence fallacy and a false dichotomy fallacy. So everything you said after that was irrelevant. Follow?
Yeah, and did you say Brian's not here? Did he leave?
Yeah.
On the test goes.
It's really unfortunate because I really enjoyed his conversation. It wasn't a debate. His conversation with Whitsitt on the video titled Ether Debate. I thought Brian did just a bang-up job. And yeah, it got contentious at times, but I thought he did really well. Anyways, I just wanted to give him kudos for that.
Can you levitate my phone? Brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh, only frogs.
Yeah, there was a lot of things that he said. It was the first that caught, right? And there's no sense in going through the whole thing. He did what you asked him to do, though. And like I said, the most important thing for me was the ending, where he said that it was enticing, right? So there's the danger. That I hope everyone heard it, right? So anyone new coming in, there's going to be a big problem. Why? Why do you think that?
Neil.
Go ahead.
Well, I've teased Neil, haven't I? But that is Neil's concern, because you'll believe that bullshit, and that was Neil's objection. Yeah, don't do this to him, Adam. Yeah, he might go to the dark side. Yeah, he might actually believe this crap. I had faith.
No, I get Neil's sentiment, and I really do appreciate it, but it goes against something you all often say, which is go do your own research, right? And you as a person, you as a human, right? You have to what do you call it? Cultivate your cognition ability, right? To be able to understand what is real, what isn't real, what is provable, not provable, et cetera, right? So while I appreciate Neil's sentiment, I really do. I knew that going in, I was well prepared for whatever it might have been that was thrown at me, and it didn't take long. Already, it's very early in the first video I watched of Whitsitt where he gives the definition, and the definition is very ambiguous of a philosophical framework of something I can't measure, something is immaterial, yada yada, right? And so was very clear from the outset for me. But nonetheless, I do appreciate Neil's sentiment, and I hope he's not offended by anything I said. And I don't think he is. I think
he's pissed at Adam. So you said a philosophical background. You caught that one too. I know I had that one written down on a list. The different definitions that he has.
It's the medium and substance claim, right? And then Whitsitt will. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, philosophic energetic background. Can you go into that?
Well, yeah, and it's he takes words and he'll say this. This is not. And Whitsitt, if you're listening, I mean no offense by this, but he takes those words and says, "Well, it's not material the way we think of material, or it's not substance the way we think of substance." Well, if it's not those things, then maybe pick better words, I guess is what my argument would be, because it inherently confuses people, right? If I say it's a background medium or a background substance or a substrate is the other word they use often, right? That denotes physicalism to me. It denotes tangible to me, at least in my mind, of how I've used the English language for 44 years now, right? And so if you don't mean that, I don't say that. Find better words to describe it then, right? I think that's where the confusion happens, where it's a melding of this physical and non-physical, but it isn't physical, right?
He can't find better words. He has no other words because there is no ether. It don't exist.
Thanks for coming back, Neil. Appreciate that. Don't get pissed at Adam. Adam just wanted to get to the mission because he gave him a mission, and I think he accomplished the mission. It's not that we didn't want to hear your take on it, but go ahead. You got the floor.
I was never in any doubt that he would turn and start following Whitsitt. Let's get that straight. I think he's too smart for that. I just didn't want to expose him to the nonsense when he's already in a good platform, because I was exposed to the nonsense. If I would have found this first, I wouldn't have had to deal with the bullshit. But anyway, that's just the way I feel.
Is that it?
That's it. I just can't stand the bullshit. That's all. They're saying in chat, I hate Whitsitt. I don't hate Whitsitt. I hate the bullshit. If you can't validate something, that's always been the motto here. And that's why I stood here, Flat Earth Debate and QE. And if you can't validate it, then don't speak about it. Right? Hasn't that always been the motto?
Yes. Sort of.
Okay, then.
Unspoken. Any other comments? Betty, are you still with us?
Take us home, QE.
No, I'm not taking us home yet.
Oh.
Are you trying to get away?
Do my bidding. Come on.
Do my bidding.
We've got D-Rose with us as well. It was another. Again, probably from Neil's perspective, but how did you find that the blind spot report?
The blind spot report. I like that.
Yeah. You're not there, D-Rose.
He's stonewalling us, man.
I'm here. My bad. I caught the very tail end of everything, even though I signed on because I was tending to the children. But I heard Blind Spot speak on something, but I can't give you my judgment because I missed the whole thing.
Let me simplify the question. Does he sound like he's been converted to the Church of Ether?
Oh, not at all. He never was from the beginning, but like I said, I didn't hear him today, but no, not at all.
Neil, hallelujah, our brother has returned. I'm being flippant, but I found that really useful. And like I said, it was no mean effort. Pick out those points, took time. You have listened to it and you've considered it and appraised it yourself. I thank you for that. Like I say, fundamentally, there's nothing I disagree with. And more fundamentally, some fantastic nuances of Ethereanism that you picked out and highlighted tonight. So, cheers, Blind Spot.
Cheers. I'm ready for mission number 2.
I'm
ready. Junior emissary, Blind Spot now.
Yeah, I will use that. It needs firming up. You're allowed to demand your own title. To be fair, I demanded emissary, so have a muse on it. Elaborate yourself. Nothing wrong with it. But no, dude, that was more than I hoped you would appraise it for, in terms of, because that is kind of what the job of the emissary was, to do that, and that was a very, very, there's bits missing, I say, but very succinct. And you did get rabbit hole, as QE's highlighted, but I think you had to as well, because if you don't go down the rabbit hole, you don't understand the claim, or you're able to prove to yourself that the claim is nonsense. It's not validated in anything. You have to go down there. That's why, you see, you can criticise, but that's why QE charged me with that task. That's why I demanded the title frickin' emissary to bother to do it, to be fair. QE.
You just wanted company, Adam. Why don't you just
No.
admit it?
I'm having a go at QE now, because I've just realised that, yeah, you do have to go down that rabbit hole, and he was not prepared to do so. Hence why I got the title. Worth it. That's what I'm saying. Earn your own blind spot. You've earned it, mate. Pick one. Can't be above emissary, obviously. You know what I mean?
What am I getting?
I'll have a muse about it.
What am I getting?
Yeah, exactly.
What am I getting charged with here?
I was just commending blind spot and bothering to do the research to actually go into the dirty stuff, to understand the claims and follow it to the nuance and see what was behind it, and if there was or there wasn't. And that's why I said, that's why I managed to blag the title emissary, because I demanded it, because I realised you weren't prepared to bother to do that reading.
No, weren't bothered. Hold up, weren't bothered to do what?
Read the nonsense of what Ethereum is. Hence why I got the title emissary, because it was you, Brian, Arwin, said, yeah, Adam should do that.
No, I was voted out because I carry a big stick.
Yeah, I did that. There was no way you. Yeah,
This
to be
is a
fair,
family
yeah.
show. Get back
Either
to
way, flattery got me to do it.
Wait a second, Adam. Did you stop knitting?
Yes. Knitting kitten mittens.
Knitting kitten mittens.
Are you knitting kitten mittens for a poorly pussy?
I can't even repeat that.
Oh, that's good alliteration, that.
Yeah? Okay. Oh, we got a super chat. It's like exactly on time to just save me from this. Retro Bill says, reporting for duty and ready to join the Junior Emissary Light Infantry Brigade.
Ooh, look at that. Light Infantry Brigade. That's
Light Fanfare Brigade.
Light Infantry Brigade. I like that. Retro Bill. He's got game. Thanks, Bill. Appreciate it, man.
Take us home, QE.
I'm not taking anyone home.
You're taking them for a ride, huh?
I'm curious was the blind spot. It is the blind spot, correct? Not just blind spot.
Either or, yeah. It's kind of like quantum eraser or QE, right?
It's not the quantum eraser, it's QE.
Or
It is the Adam meeting.
You can just say blind too.
Did you happen by the audio clip in your travels?
Yeah, the short.
Yes.
Yes. Yep. And I think you played at the start of last week's Ballbusters too.
Did I?
Yeah. If we're talking about the same clip.
We're talking about the same clip.
Yeah.
Do we want to give him another mission, Adam?
Sounds like you do.
Go ahead and evaluate. Well, I want to hear your evaluation of that. Not now.
About the doublespeak.
Not now. I want you to go ahead and listen to it with that in mind. I want you to assess it.
Okay.
So that would be unfair because you just probably, just listen to it and then that was that. And I'm not going to hold you.
Yeah, I did not dig into that clip as a primary source for my research.
Exactly.
Put it that way. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Will this be a new item on the QE Live to give people sort of missions?
Yes, maybe. Yes. Well, nah. See, he's in a unique position because he's new. He's motivated, obviously.
We are not.
Second.
The rest of us isn't.
Yeah, you're not new, and you're definitely not motivated.
What gave you that idea?
Yeah. Mission number 2. Yep. So I'd like to hear his assessment. Anything to add on to that, Adam? We looking for any?
No, it's a very different mission. Mine was intriguing about newbies, people entering it, and the effect that these very different, these alternative religions, I shall say, and how they cloud your view of Earth. That was my primary interest. This is very different. This is gathering evidence, I assume, in support of a neutral opinion of what he's heard, whether or not this constitutes what's upset QE, I think, fundamentally, which is changing our standards and becoming like them. And there's not wrong. We're listening to what you appraise, Blind Spot, and getting to that conclusion that it's philosophical. We've got no problem with that. If that philosophy is contradictory, that's the issue I think QE's got with when he's having a dig at Whitsitt. It's the lying, fundamentally, because we can't have a path, not have a path, be a particle, not be a particle, need a medium, not, all these contradictions that we make in our own speech to maintain our nonsensical philosophical paradigm. That, I think, is the accusation of lying to the audience, that I think you're probably being, is it double speak? Is it a lie? What is it, what we're hearing here? Because it's, as one of the clips goes, yeah, because it is that bad. That fundamentally, when you listen to that summation of what was claimed over a very short period, a month or two, and then 6 months after that is a moment. And I think that's the root of the accusation, and probably what you're being asked to investigate next is what you're hearing commensurate with somebody that has their own understanding. Even, I think, fundamentally that's a fair question. Is from those clips, does the person that's prophesied this new philosophy that they admitted, do they even demonstrate commensurate understanding themselves of what they're philosophizing? Or do they contradict themselves? And that's a fair question, so that you're not indicting anyone in a personal way.
Mission accepted. Contingent on a better title.
Oh, you can help us formulate that question.
Then you have to ask yourself, how did we get in the mess that we're in the first place? What were the tactics used to get us where we are? And by who useth them on thee?
Pseudoscience?
Adam and Eve?
That's a different mess, Benny.
I think that compiles all the messes. It's the mess of messes. Right?
Eve. Yeah, Eve. You're right.
Yeah.
Eve, Adam, you.
Adam, you.
Spent the rest of eternity trying to clear that mess up.
That's why why God gave woman life, right? Because we are the helpers. We pick up your mess after you.
Adam, not to divert away, we can come back on this topic of Betty's wickering some stories together. Retro Bill said he's also reporting for duty.
Ooh.
I'm waiting for the blind spot to tell me what regiment they're reporting to. He'll be the head of that. First commandment.
Okay. I'll have a muse about that.
And Retro
Although
Bill
we still have the Umi question unresolved, Adam. So
yeah, the Umi. See that was established without moi. What the hell is a Yumi?
It was 5-0 in chat when asked whether it was
Del.
Umi or Uris. So an upward moving earther or an upward rising earther. We can ask again. In fact, I will. So chat, is it an Umi, an upward moving earther, or an Uri, an upward rising earther?
My God.
1 for Umi, 2 for Uri.
Betty. Oh my God. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Oh, some people are asking out in chat, what am I talking about? So what is the blind spot's mission? Is that what you're asking? They're unsure of what that is, Adam.
I think, well, I gave my 2 pennyworth. It's
So
your mission.
we have.
So you adjust it, I think, accordingly. What do you want? What? You know what I mean?
I don't think that they're aware of what we're talking about, so I may have to give the subject material that the blind spot is on next, is what I'm trying to say.
Play it.
Yeah.
Play it now.
Yeah, that's what I was going to do. Hold on a second. Let me go ahead and share it in Discord so you guys are up to speed. You don't have to wait on YouTube. All right, you guys good? All right, here we go, chat. This is for you. This is the blind spot's next mission. Evaluation and assessment of this disaster. So we have the respawn remedial retard, double speaking lion sewer rat, shits at 60, guns ablazing out of the gate ether argument from FED episode 1702 from 8 months ago.
Where we have electromagnetic waves that we can show, and either it has a medium that it's waving through, or it's waving through nothing, which is an asinine claim.
So we have electromagnetic waves, which this moron thinks is light, waving through a something medium because they can't wave through nothing. Therefore, his something medium is ether. Then he gets a bit more specific.
Basically, if you have a vacuum chamber, which it does still have some molecules in it, right? But you have all kinds of electromagnetic fluctuations that you can measure and detect within that. And so it's like, what's the energy traveling through?
Now we have a vacuum chamber, you know, the ones we trip over when we walk around in nature, with electromagnetic fluctuations in it, which this idiot considers light. And his question proof for his retard ether is, what's the energy traveling through? Let me say that again. His question proof for his retard ether is, what's the energy traveling through? You got that? Some more light traveling to support his idiot ether claim, so there's no mistake.
Okay, well, that's why relativity was created.
Sorry, are you telling me you're going around peddling this crap to this community based on a fucking parlor trick?
No, it's based on antecedent relationship. Like,
Sorry,
it's just
what was the
logical
phenomena
framework.
studied in this highly scientific parlor trick? What was the phenomena studied?
The difference in travel of light. The difference in travel of light. The difference in travel of light.
So it's clear. The support for his asinine ether claim is the travel of light. 10 days later.
No, you're presupposing that light's traveling from point A to point B.
I'm not.
Yeah. So we got this fork-tongued, double-speaking clown carry on for nearly 2 hours about his question-proof, substanceless medium ether horse shit, with his shining example, the travel of light, then has the mind-numbing Dunning-Kruger audacity for his encore performance 10 days later to charge his opponent for presupposing what? The travel of light.
No, you're presupposing that light's traveling from point A to point B.
I'm not.
So let's head back to Shits at 60s, guns a-blazing, out of the gate ether argument from FED episode 1702.
Where we have electromagnetic waves that we can show, and either it has a medium that it's waving through, or it's waving through nothing, which is an asinine claim.
So we have electromagnetic waves, which this moron thinks is light, waving through a something medium because they can't wave through nothing. Therefore, his something medium is ether. Then he gets a bit more specific.
Basically, if you have a vacuum chamber, which it does still have some molecules in it, right? But you have all kinds of electromagnetic fluctuations that you can measure and detect within that. And so it's like, what's the energy traveling through?
So we got the full story. We have electromagnetic waves in a vacuum, and the question proof is what's the energy traveling through, and is confirmed again here.
What does the electromagnetic wave propagate within?
Let's pinpoint exactly what these electromagnetic waves are.
I can shoot a laser through a vacuum chamber, and it
Why
gets
would
to
you
the
do
other
that?
side.
So shooting a laser through a vacuum chamber means he's shooting light. Therefore, the electromagnetic waves he's speaking to is light. 10 days later.
So I never claimed that light is a wave.
What does the electromagnetic wave propagate within? I can shoot a laser through a vacuum chamber, and it
Why
gets
would
to
you
the
do
other
that?
side.
So I never claimed that light is a wave.
So what's left after lying and double speaking for nearly 4 hours? Folks, I have over 8 hours of videos on my channel assessing every single doublespeak, logical fallacy, outright lie, and made up on the spot contradicting piece of horseshit spewed from the despicable dipshit Shits at 60. So again, what's left? Yep, you guessed it. The only port in the storm. This schmuck outright denies the very argument that he made for his fuckwit ether. 4 days ago, 24/7, Flat Earth Discord.
My position is not light goes through a vacuum, thus it must have a medium in it because light needs a medium to travel through. That is not what, no. Okay, I never.
What the hell did you just say?
My position is not light goes through a vacuum, thus it must have a medium in it because light needs a medium to travel through. That is not what, no. Okay, I never. Where we have electromagnetic waves that we can show, and either it has a medium that it's waving through, or it's waving through nothing, which is an asinine claim. My position is not light goes through a vacuum, thus it must have a medium in it because light needs a medium to travel through. That is not what, no. Okay, I never. Basically, if you have a vacuum chamber, which it does still have some molecules in it, right? But you have all kinds of electromagnetic fluctuations that you can measure and detect within that. And so it's like, what's the energy traveling through?
The prosecution rests for now. Flat Earthers, what are you gonna do? There you go. We good, chat? No misunderstanding?
There's going to be lots.
So why is his name Shits at 60? Why did I crown him with that? Well, he just makes shit up. So he shits it, and then the 60 is his IQ. So there's no misunderstanding there.
That was the only part that I thought might have, if in terms of Blind Spot's mission number 2, may have been prejudicial in the evidence. Maybe ignore that first introductory by QE.
What about the numpty dipshit part? Wouldn't that be also biased?
Maybe I would just ask you to stick with Whitsit's words.
You know I will. You know I will. I'm going to go do my own research. I can take a pretty unbiased approach. At least I like to think so, right? We all have our own biases, but I'll do my best to give it a good review, good analysis. Although, is it Retro Bill? I mean, maybe he wants to take a stab at it, and I can go take a look at whoever Dell is in the Yumis. So we've got all kinds of missions.
Although that was saying Umis.
No, you're not doing Yumis yet. You're on this mission. I've given it to you.
Yes, sir.
It was an interesting point there. If you listen to Whitsit's rhetoric, it's a little bit. It reminded me of Dell and the Yumi claims. Suddenly, when pushed to define a new paradigm or their claim, it suddenly ceases to be their claim. Or I'm not claiming not with moving over. I'm not claiming light does this ways. It doesn't. Very interesting. Weak rebuttal that both present when asked for clarity on their claim. Odd, isn't it? I'm not claiming that light has to have a medium to wave in, having previously said how asinine it would be to have the reverse. You know, I'm not claiming the Earth's moving upwards. That's what I'm hearing at the moment. Having claimed the whole mechanics for upward moving Earth. I say, interesting. They share the same weak defense point when pushed to provide clarity on their claim.
Huh, interesting question from chat. Why does Whitsit deserve all this time, energy, and attention?
People miss the end.
Do I actually need to explain it to you?
Is that like stop picking on Whitsit? Or is it genuinely not just missing the point?
I don't know. It's Eric. He's a balltard, so he's gonna miss. If I tell him, I think he's gonna miss it anyway. Shout out to Eric.
I really don't want to listen to Whitsit speak. Then you're good, dude.
Oh, hey, Adam.
Sorry
Can
for wasting your
I
time.
mention something?
Yeah.
I wanted to say that this conversation, Gloobers aren't even welcome to the table. This is a flat Earth roundtable discussion, and Gloobers aren't even welcome to the table. You get nothing.
It's a good point.
Well, I'd be interested in a Glober's opinion of this. This is great fodder for them, isn't it? Eh? Which side are they going to come down on? Even a Glober. What side are they coming down on?
They'll probably try to put a spin on it, like we love this stuff between fights between flat earthers. Daft numpties. I would like to hear it. Yeah, go ahead. Eric, pop on in here. Let's hear it. Let's see your take. Or let's hear your take. Sorry, we're not going to see it.
I would suggest.
Are you making blind jokes?
Sorry. Was that the... I got that. I would suggest their silence speaks. They do it in a lot of things when we have internal discussions in Flat Earth or in fighting. Yeah? Interesting, they don't come down. The last thing they want is to add any weight to one side.
Well, if there's infighting, hold on. If there's infighting, who are the ins? Wouldn't that have to be clearly established first? Yeah.
Wouldn't it be a boring place if we all sang from the same hymn sheet, though?
It's that. Well, I get that philosophically, generally speaking. Yes, I'm following your train of thought here, but it goes a bit deeper than that.
Holy God, Jesus, through da blah. If you just make shit up on your hymn sheet, it makes no sense, right? The point of the hymn sheet is to have some order to it, like what Blind Spot was saying earlier. What is the philosophical framework? What is the construct of the hymn sheet? If the dots and the sticks and the lines and where they meet don't mean anything, yeah, if none of the words that you're saying, you can pronounce them how you want, they can mean what they want, yeah. What's the purpose of that hymn sheet? What benefit does it do other than create the noise I just made? Yeah, nonsense. If we're going to have a hymn sheet, it still has to have a logical framework, as presupposed by Whitsitt. Yeah. So
yeah, agree.
Yeah.
I mean, Bev was probably the most attacked one to start with his sort of view on life, on things. But I noticed earlier you all spouted exactly what he was saying is horizontal, is level. You all said that earlier. And
no, we didn't. We said horizontal, level, flat. Bev denies the term flat in those. That's where we would draw Bev into the same point of nonsensical, egotistical nonsense that elevates their status above the argument. Yeah, because we're now arguing about well-defined meanings of words. Yeah?
We weren't really attacking him. We were more or less laughing at Bev.
Yeah.
But you've just spouted exactly what he's been saying all along.
What he's been. Can he? Is he going to correct you, Adam? You going to correct him again?
Yeah.
Maybe he'll listen this time.
For you, Brian, and that's why I didn't bring Bev into this. You did. Yeah, he's not been mentioned, but you decided to allude one word in your description when you brought Bev into this, and that was the term flat. Yeah.
Well,
so if we want to bring Bev, well, you've brought Bev into it. So if we want to bring Bev into it, then yeah, I would go back to the flat Earth debate where you can see that Bev demonstrates that he's prepared to do similar standards, which is not to admit he's just wrong with regards to polarity and an elevation angle. He's prepared to lie to the flat Earth community, yeah, to hold his own face and his own ego. Yeah. So because you brought him into it, Brian, I'd put him in that same category as cited, and as we can use his own words as we're doing with Whitsitt to prove that point. I'd sooner move on from Bev. I don't know why you brought him into it, Brian, but you did. But I'd sooner move on because I think it kind of negates from the point where we're trying to discuss tonight.
And I'd like to add something onto there, Brian. He's not some type of oracle just because he said that. We all know that and knew that because it's axioms. So we don't really give a shit what he parrots. We pay particular attention to hyperspecificity on what he does say. Follow?
Yeah, I'll follow, yeah.
Yep.
I think this subject has to be attacked from all angles, by all walks of life,
No one is beyond reproach, is the point. And especially people using the same tactics that got us into this mess in the first place. If this is new to you, not you, Brian, in general, you out there, the royal you, then you shouldn't be here. You follow? It doesn't take any intuition for this to hit you. If you're having trouble with it, then you're emotionally tied to I don't know what, but you're not thinking. We're not even into critical thinking yet. This is well, duh. And like I said, nobody is beyond reproach. Not even the self-appointed chosen one. Even more so.
You?
No. I'm not above reproach.
Okay. All angles.
Never. Never have been.
All right. Take us home, QE.
I'm not going home yet. I'm already home.
He's just getting into his stride.
I thought it was a nice point to end it.
Well, knit me up a rational reason why there's Lion Surrat double speakers.
It's going to be too long of a knitting game.
Yeah. Yes, it is. And besides, this is the 4th of July, right? I really don't have anywhere to go.
Barbecuing.
I'll get to the barbecue, and it's 3:45. We're still well in the lane.
I think you're sort of trying to get out of it.
There's the double-blind chemist up on screen right now for everyone. Sorry, Betty. That I know that was. I went sideways there. I caught it out the corner of my eye.
Yeah, but when you see it, we don't. So.
Yeah, it'll be coming for you here in a couple seconds if you're watching the live stream. But the people in YouTube land, they see it. So that's where I was pointing it out.
YouTube land.
Yeah. Was that a reification fallacy?
You think?
No, I wasn't using it as proof. I was using it as color in my explanation.
Oh, God damn. Unbelievable. You know, you're the king of evasing these fallacies, you know? When you use them, it's not a fallacy, and because then you're using it on point.
I'm sorry, that wasn't a fallacy. Do I need to explain why again?
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Especially reification. Reification is used in storytelling or demonstrating with color an actual fact. However, if you're using it as proof for something, then you're guilty of reification. Make sense?
Yeah, but you always try to prove something, even if it's towards yourself.
I wasn't trying to prove YouTube land.
Yeah, you were trying to prove that YouTube land was something. Or doing something.
I was in court. Judge, YouTube land exists.
Yeah.
My word.
You need to be institutionalized.
Your sister doesn't seem to mind.
I know, she's there too.
I know better than to state that to Betty. As soon as I was saying it, I said, goodness gracious, I hope she doesn't give it up.
You didn't see that one coming.
Because out of pride, you damn near did.
Oh my God, this was a good one.
But I couldn't rein it back, Betty. I was on a roll right in the middle of it. I said, oh shit, I'm in trouble.
Funny. Yeah, even the best. Take us home, QE.
I'm not going home. Knit a clue. We're on this knitting thing, right? Because it caught me off guard, and I seen that comment. I was rolling.
And you have to understand that I have never knitted. I learned it a little bit, and then I started
Thanks.
like saying, this takes too long. I don't want to do this.
Yeah. It requires attention to detail, accountability, and reason.
Accountability.
And reason.
Reason. Logic, because you need to have a logic pattern on it.
I thought you said lodging.
Logic also, because you need to do this at home.
Yes.
In a home.
Yeah. I'm sure the in YouTube land they're loving this back and forth.
How would you know?
Yeah, I was being facetious.
You're reifying, right? That it might be happening.
I was facetiously reifying.
Yeah, so that's a fallacy.
Yeah, that's not.
It is.
It's not.
It is.
Over to Adam.
Over to
I'm busy knitting mittens.
For kittens.
For a poorly pussy.
Oh, boy. Flat Arthur. He's been in here. He hasn't said a single word, Betty.
Yeah, he said something to us before the show started, but afterwards.
What?
No.
Get stuffed?
Sort of.
Sort of. He's
asleep.
Eric E. Is that Eric Capaldi? Eric, is that you? Come off mute.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go, man. Yeah.
Okay, this is a pleasure of mine because I've been listening to you for a number of years. So this is the first time we have audio.
That we've actually spoken. I'd like to take back all the insults I've given to you. I meant them in the most positive way.
I had a hunch you did. So. Yeah, I'd also like to say hi to the other members of the panel. I've listened to you all for a number of years, and so I'm happy to be here.
Cool. Thanks for coming in, man. Appreciate it.
Okay, I don't really have anything to say right now, so I'll just sit back and I'll just listen to what you guys say.
Okay. Fair enough. Eric's in here, Betty.
I wonder what his take on flat is.
What is take on?
Well, okay. You mean not the specific person like flat author. Okay. Well, as QE mentioned, I am a glober. Basically, the engineering that I do with the GPS systems require the globular or spherical model for the system to work. That's how it's designed.
Shit, Betty. We're not going anywhere anytime soon, Betty.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. But I'm very interested in hearing the topics of your conversations. I'm not sure if Nathan and I would get along, but I've always listened to QE's presentations, and actually I've taken notes. So I hope I can be like a resident glober or maybe a mascot, perhaps.
Mascot. I love it. Eric, I've got a quick question on that last statement. Just how do you engineer with a GPS system?
Okay, my specialty is in the receiver part. The engineering requires following the specifications of the system that was provided by the government, since the United States government, constructed the satellites and launched them, which I know is another topic to discuss. But basically, it's a radio frequency system that receives signals from the satellites. The satellites transmit ranging codes, so the distance to the satellites can be determined. And then a trilateration or a triangulation is done to, since the satellite's positions are known. And then the end result is the position of the receiver is determined. And so the engineering is to basically implement the procedures using specifications and writing software.
Okay.
Hold on a second. Hold on. Wait, one second, Adam. 1 second. That was very well done.
Yeah, I understood it. That's what. So, when we say engineering, do you mean responding to code? Because engineering will be the engineering in terms of placing the location, setting up that thing, making sure that the thing you're transmitting from is where you say it's from. Or are we talking about ways in which we deal with code when you say engineering?
Okay, well, let's see. Well, the satellites, let me call them that right now because the GPS satellites, we don't engineer that. We just use the signals that emanate from them or transmitted. The engineering, it's basically like radio engineering, at least for the hardware, where the signals are, including the antenna. The signals are received at an antenna, by an antenna. They are sent to signal processing elements in the receiver.
Just a quick question on that. They're already engineered, aren't they? Or are you saying you make antenna?
The company I worked for created it. They had a product, a temperature stabilized antenna. It wasn't
No. In terms of your role, when you say I'm engineering, are you making antennae or are you dealing with pre-engineered antennae?
Okay, the other engineers developed antennas, the RF frequency portion, the digitizing, and then basically what my role was to write the software that would take the signals, the process signals, and determine the eventually it would just determine the, sorry, I'm going into too much detail probably.
No, you're not. You're hitting the points, and that's why I'm only interrupting just for. So you're a software engineer.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I understand now. That's fine. I just wanted to contextualize what you do. You're not Dr. Phil building satellites here. You deal with the data that's coming in, and you build software engineering to interpret that data. I assume, is that correct?
Yes.
Welcome then. Hello, I'm Adam. I'm a chemist, pharmacist.
Oh yes, that's a good profession. I respect that.
You're very, very well articulated, very, very well spoken. I'm shocked.
Oh well. Don't be. I'm not. I'm probably presenting my best side.
But no, I don't think so. It's quite refreshing. I just wanted to add that. I'd rip your ass through your throat with your claim, but I don't really feel like doing that.
Well, it's also the 4th of July, so let's not. I hope you don't do that.
No, I won't, because you present. I liked what you said. I'm just not. It's the 4th of July. I'm not in the mood of tearing people up, and it's your first time on the show. I ain't gonna fucking ruin that.
Oh well, thank you. Actually, I hope maybe I'll appear in the future from time to time.
Good. Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, well, thank you. I'll let you guys speak and continue on.
Okay, we're going to talk about you, but just go on mute. We're going to talk about you.
Okay.
No, I wish you a happy 4th of July, Eric.
Well,
it's a pleasure to me. I hope we do chip in, because none of us are, like we said earlier, none of us are above rebuttal. Your input's welcome. You sound an intelligent man that will have comment worthy of listening to. So I hope it is. I look forward to you next time you chip in.
Well, thank you, Adam, and I'll look forward to listening to what you say and what QE and the others say, and I'll go on mute now. And I want to wish everyone a good 4th of July.
Eric, if I can stop
about
Well, hold on a second. Hold on a second. We got too many people. He said he was to let Eric relax. The first one that spoke up was Brian Mabbott. So
maybe Eric could teach us about Cartesian coordinates then.
Okay. I know there's been a lot said here in the forums and about Cartesian coordinates. The Cartesian coordinates are, as you all know, are rectangular coordinate systems. You have length, width, height, and you just measure off a distance. And so you have X, Y, and Z. And then you can locate any point with respect to the origin, which is just where all the three axes meet. For GPS, the Cartesian coordinates are, again, I'll just state what it is. They located basically at the center of mass of the Earth. This is the WGS 84. The GPS, they are also fixed with respect to the Earth. This is the ECEF, Earth-centered, Earth-fixed. So they actually rotate with the Earth. The positions of the satellites and also the final position solution are all with respect to this Cartesian ECEF coordinate system. Okay, I'm just going to say that because I know this could lead to a long conversation probably.
Neil, hold on a second. Hold on. Neil, be respectful now. All right? Go ahead, Brian.
Yes, I think it would end up as a very, very long conversation.
But that's okay. You can end there, and somebody else can ask him a question. We're not going to tear him up today.
I don't want to.
I just want to make a comment, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead, make a comment. Blind Spot, you were the second one that jumped in. Adam, you're right after him. Go ahead, Blind Spot.
Yeah, Eric, I just want to say that similar to QE, I appreciate your tenor and your approach here. But ironically, I think you and I work in the same industry. I work for a software company that uses RFID technology as well as GPS. So it would be interesting that you and I are maybe on separate sides of the discussion, but in the same industry. So I'd love to chat with you, maybe offline sometime too. So hit me up anytime.
Yeah. That would be great. That would be great.
Adds to my point. I didn't know you was into this as well. As Fed guys have a preferred topics. Brian's is GPS. I was going to suggest just come back. As the man arrives, that is.
I knew it'd be.
Yeah.
Okay, Eric.
God for that.
It was probably the GPS that triggered him. But what I was going to suggest was, rather than piling on Eric now, maybe next week, week after, whatever, let's have a GPS show, Eric. If you maybe liaise with us, that'd be great. Your knowledge, Brian's, and as man of many mysteries, the Blind Spot has shown one of his topics. So that I'd love to listen on that because I know nothing, if I'm being honest, other than knowing what a Cartesian coordinate system is. So I'd be interested to listen to you guys discuss it and why it has evidence for both sides.
Brian's hold on. I'll let you go. Brian's logic. It's our policy here for this afternoon, being that it's Independence Day for us Americans, that we are not going to tear him to pieces. You follow me?
No, I have no intention of acting like that. No, I mean, I'm going to go with the tone. I'm running a bit late. I was a bit behind on the YouTube. I'm just going to go with the tone of the conversation. Not anything like that.
Not that you had the propensity to do that, sir. I just wanted to nip it in the bud. Shout out to Betty.
Well, maybe, Bri, did you hear my proposal? Maybe just because it's like three strangers meeting now. You've got Eric, Blind Spot, and you, are guys that I would listen to on it. You don't need to do it now because it's unfair on Eric, who we've just said hello to on the 4th of July. So
don't like the softer side of QE. I can tell you that.
No,
Neil's not liking us going like we're going soft, Neil, aren't we?
I talked with Eric via YouTube and things in the past. I understand Eric's position. And I've looked into Eric's position. And that's why it took me a bit of time, but I looked into it. And that's why I have a counter argument. But I'm not going to go making a big thing out of it. But I understand what Eric is saying. I've looked into all of what the claims are concerning it. I've looked into it. And my claim would be that even if we were on a globe, how they claim it works, it couldn't work because the receiver couldn't find its location. To give the impression it can, but if you look into it, it can't.
Okay.
So that would be my position.
Okay, but the GPS receivers do find their position. So I'm interested in why you would say that.
Oh, they do. They do find their position. I mean, I wouldn't argue that point. It would be totally stupid to argue that point. It's that the way they say that it works is not how it works. Now, I know how it works. There's certain things I won't divulge at present. I'm holding them back for a reason, personal reason. But what the receiver gets is it gets an altitude, basically, of a satellite, right? Because I don't mind, just call them a satellite. It's fine by me, right? And it gets a sub point of the satellite. But it gets a lot of other information as well. And also the receivers understand angles, because they need to understand angles. But that is all fluff. It's actually something different that's actually happening. And it's to do with the compass. That's what it's about. That's why a GPS is a compass center. A GPS receiver has an inbuilt compass. And the compass is the reason that GPS works. Now, the thing about it is, what I would say, if I was going to say it, is that the GPS, how it works, could work on a globe, or it could work on a flat, with one exception. And that's the one exception, which I'm not going to go into now, right? So it could work on either. But there's one thing that causes it a problem for the globe, makes it not possible to work on the globe. So that's my position.
Okay, and that one thing you're going to keep to yourself right now.
Yeah, I'm in a position where I can't, I still have stuff going on with it. I can't divulge it. But basically, it's somewhat connected to celestial navigation.
Okay. Well, I'd like to have a conversation with you when you feel free that you can discuss what you have found out. The only thing I'd like to say right now is that the specifications for GPS are online. They're provided by the United States government, and they are at gps.gov. And you can download them, and those are the interface specifications, give all the details, and you might want to take a look at those.
Well, I've been to whatever sites were official sites, main sites, looked into military sites and different things. Went through. I mean, I understand your position. I could take your position, and it is convincing. It could be convincing, right? Certain parts of it could be convincing. I'm not saying it couldn't be. But I've looked into those. I'm pretty sure if it's one of the main sources, then I've definitely been on it, because I've looked into so many sources to do with this. As I said, governmental and military. Do you know where GPS started?
It started, well, the time frame was in the 1970s, and it was in the later part of the 70s that the first satellites became operational. But perhaps you mean something else about where it started?
Yeah, because its actual starting point was 1994 in surveying. That was the starting point. And in 1995, the US military said they were going to give it to the world. So people think the US military basically allowed the world to have this. But it was already being used in surveying since 1994.
I think I may have misspoken. It was in the 70s are when the ideas started to be formed, and the operational systems came later. So yes, what you say is correct. There were some military systems that were available for testing Right. So yeah, it was in the and then it was after the Korean Airlines airliner was shot down that President Reagan announced to the world that GPS existed.
See, there was some programs. See, there's been GPS is like basically it's a kind of a new name on an older system that they just kind of improvised and updated. I mean, the system is basically it's just a system of finding your GPS is the modern day celestial navigation. That's actually what it is in a lot of ways.
Yes,
Because
that's
it
why
even
they.
used celestial navigation. Go on, sorry.
Well, it was actually one of the names for it is Navstar for navigation star, and satellites were. That was one of the early names for the system.
Yeah, I mean, because the units, the receivers use the almanac. They use the ephemeris. They use the star.
Right. There's both an almanac for lower level or lower precision, and then there's a more accurate ephemeris, which are broadcast through the data link or through the modulation of the signal that's received, and there's one for each of the satellites.
Yeah, there's obviously going to be a different ephemeris for any signal sending point. Let's just say because they can use ground and air, right? Let's just say they don't have to use air all the time. They can use ground and air.
Those are you're right. Those are the non-satellite signals, and they are they're augmentation systems, and you can pick up the signal from them and use them to help form your solution. So yes.
Well, in surveying originally, they weren't using satellites. Originally, they were using signal sending and receiving. Basically, they were using signal sending and receiving. They had signal senders in particular places, and they'd send the signal, and it would be received, and they'd have different signal senders in different, let's just say, directions, right? Compass directions, let's just say, to where the receiver was. And the receiver would find its location off of that, or the surveyor would know their location based on the coordinates and compass directions of these other signal sending places, points, let's call it.
Which were located on the ground or fixed locations. And so when people think of GPS, all of these, what you say is part of the system, is part of the system, they usually think of the space-based segment, which are the satellite. But yes, there's all sorts of, if you have a ranging signal or a signal coming from known locations, and this applies to both space and fixed ground locations. If you know the location and the ranging signal enables you to compute the distance to that, the origin of the signal, then you can use that to form your navigation solution. So yes, I agree with what you're saying. Yes.
I thought what I was going to say is that's going to be mine. Go on, sorry, Adam. Go on.
Just a geeky question. You were saying the predecessor was Navstar, but that was
that was an early name for GPS, and they still refer to it.
It was the kind of predecessor to all this kind of.
Okay. Well, it wasn't the predecessor. It was an alternate name for GPS, the Navstar. LORAN was a ground-based system that is now obsolete and they've been shut down. But it required very large towers at positions and used, and it also would not give, I believe it would not give the altitude of the receiver. So you get your position, but not your altitude. Yes, LORAN was a ground-based system that was in existence for decades. There was a satellite system called Transit, which was used by the military and also for oil tankers. And it basically was a Doppler system, so that a satellite would go by and the Doppler to it would be measured, and then that enabled the ships or the receiver to determine their position. But that was not as advanced as GPS. It worked, but it didn't give the precision that GPS does give now.
But Loran didn't give altitude, you're saying? I'm not disputing that. That's
Well, I haven't, since it's now defunct, I haven't really studied it, but it did use ground-based antennas, a hyperbolic system to determine locations. And I mean, if we, I'd probably, to tell the truth, I probably have to refresh it, because since it is an old system and not around anymore, I haven't really, I don't involve myself with it.
They're actually bringing Loran back.
Sorry, just to my simple mind, it just seemed a similar ping-based system. It's ping, ping. I say I'm not a software engineer, I'm a chemist, so that's why I always assumed Loran was fundamentally the same. As you identified, it's ground-based pinging, but it's still the same principle for what trilateration, I suppose.
Right. Well, basically, yeah, that's if you know the distances to the signal sources, then the model of, let's say that provides equations that enable you to solve for your position if you have as inputs received signals. So that's kind of a high level way of saying it, but basically you know where the transmitters are at a particular time, you know signals that you have measured and received at a specific time, and from that information, those measurements, you can determine your position.
Eric, the way let's just say I'm standing on a globe and there was 4 separate satellites and they're at four different locations from me, right? This is the basics of this is the basics. This is actually not the basics. This is a little bit on from the basics of what they'll say of how it works, how they'll describe it to the general public. Basically, the receiver receives signals from these 4 separate locations. And what the receiver gets is it gets information on the position of where the signal is coming from, the altitude of it above its subpoint let's say, on the surface of a globe, and the coordinates of the subpoint. So that's 4 separate coordinates and 4 separate altitudes, let's say, right? But the problem, the problem with that is what they need to do then is they need to find the distance, right? They need to first find where the signal, where the receiver is, because they have 4 subpoints. Because we'll use 4 because 4 is for trilateration. If 4 subpoints and 4 coordinates somewhere, right? And the receiver is somewhere within those 4, like say ideally, right? But the receiver can't only get a distance. Let's just say if it uses, it'll have to take in the angle, right, which would be an hypotenuse length, to a satellite, right? And then it's going to be dealing with a line from that satellite straight down to its subpoint. So then that's going to be 2 lines, 2 straight lines. But then the receiver then, and this is how they even try to show it, would then have to use a chord length, right? And even at that, it can't find its location. The receiver can't, with how they try and claim it works, the receiver can never find its own location. Because if it could, it wouldn't need certain things that has within it. One of the things it does, right, it wouldn't need a compass for a start. But one of the things it does, right, is because it has the celestial ephemeris, it can know, and this is not even like, I'm not giving away everything here, what I'm talking about. It can know that because there's a signal coming from this location, right, at this time of day, right, at this subpoint coordinates, that means there is a GP point to a celestial body, right, one of the navigation of the celestial bodies, maybe a certain amount of degrees to the west of it or whatever, right, of that point. So then it actually has two things. This has the GP point of the celestial body. And that's when it starts having to use celestial navigation. But celestial navigation is basically, GPS is basically surveying techniques and celestial navigation. That's basically what it is. But it uses the compass. The compass is how it finds its location. And it's so simple. And I want to tell everyone, but I can't at the present. It's so simple how it does what it does. But when it does it, it makes total sense.
Even I'm finding that frustrating, Brian.
I'm sorry, Adam.
That's just ridiculous. How can anybody rebut what you've just said? Yeah.
Well, I don't want to really contradict anyone, but let me just tell you very briefly what the process to determine the receiver's position. The satellites, as you mentioned, they broadcast their almanacs and ephemeris. You have an estimate of the time of transmission that's actually from the ranging code and also the receiver time. From that, the XYZ Cartesian coordinates of each satellite are computed. And then the range to them, you have an estimate, you have your it might be inaccurate, but you have a estimate of your current position in terms of XYZ. So you have 2 points, the satellite and the receiver in XYZ coordinates. So you can compute an estimate of the distance between the two. It might be erroneous, but that's okay for right now, for the initial estimate. And you do that for each of the satellites for which you have received a signal. So then, not just the position, but also the time error. There's GPS also solves for time. And that's the reason why you need 4 satellites to get a complete solution. 3 for X, Y, and Z, and then a 4th one for time. So basically, what the receiver does is it uses the position information, the position estimate of the receiver, the positions of the satellites, the distance, which are actually called pseudo ranges because they include a timing error. And then from the 4 measured quantities, you solve a system of equations, and then that will give you the receiver's position, and not just position, but also an estimate of the receiver's timing error. So you can actually correct for the receiver's time as well. And so that's all. I just want to say that's a brief description of the algorithms that is actually used.
Okay, I'll give something away.
Is that what you have to do with the data you receive, Eric? Yeah.
Yes.
And the algorithm you apply to the data that's received.
Yes.
Right. I don't want to. Right. We're going into a bit too much. I'm saying if you're going to use what you're saying, it's 4th of July, so we've got to be able to back it up ourselves. I don't think we can use him with.
Okay.
Yeah, do you get my point, bro? I'm not being funny.
I do, Adam, but I'm kind of being put in a position where I have to kind of give away a bit more than I want to give away. I'll give away some of it. Okay. All right. I'll give away some of it.
Okay. Right? Okay. Well, thank you. Don't give away everything, all of it.
No, I'm only going to.
Me, I'm a glober.
I've got a simple question. I live in Nottingham, right? Mm-hmm. It's in the Trent Valley. When I drive around, I've got 6, 7, 8 satellites. My car says I'm picking up on my GPS. When I go out into Lincolnshire, which is the flat plains that head out to the sea, and there's no hills, there's no buildings, I'll drop down a number of satellites. When my car's telling me the number of satellites I'm picking up, does it mean the number of satellites in the sky, or are some of them ground-based signals that my car is using?
It's the visibility. If you have a sky visibility, usually the satellites are indicated. Depends on your receiver if it has this capability to display. But often they give the elevation and azimuth to the visible satellites that are above the horizon. That's another word that we can say for later. to discuss.
I think you're missing my point, Eric. I'm
well,
asking. If I've got 8 satellites, my dashboard says 8 satellites being picked up, right? Are all of those, and I use the term satellites, are all of them in, and I'm holding air quotes up here, space? Are all of them in space, or some of them land-based things that the GPS uses?
I just want to say it's probably, I'd have to see the details, but many receivers, most of them will use land-based.
I'm confused, Eric. Why is whether or not GPS uses land-based towers supplementary a point of, it's either is or it isn't to supplement the detail?
Well, remember that each transmission source is unto itself, so to speak. They can be in they can be in space.
I know that, but the ping is going to be very different. When you talked about that fourth adjustment time, then that fourth adjustment is going to be massively different for any land-based signal, isn't it? So that would be apparent to you in your coding. It would be needed to be taken into account in the coding, wouldn't it?
These are okay. Let me just say that the coding. Okay, I'm trying to think how to. Let me just step back a little bit. The receivers can handle signals from space and also signal sources that are on the Earth. Okay, basically the contribution of each is sort of irrelevant in the solutions.
It's not, though, if we're dealing with a rotating Earth and things are geostationary. So I agree with you. It's implicitly important function of time with regards to a rotating Earth when we're talking about ping signals. Now, it's still that right. So that rate of adjustment of ping that you described earlier is necessary. Now, as I said, please address this point. The rate of adjustment and therefore the coding for that signal would need to be significantly different if we're adjusting for the fourth factor of time for a land-based tower. Just the distance traveled is so different. So we've got supposedly a what?
Right, but now
reference frame at this point.
Right, but here's the thing. Remember, I said that when I was asked about Cartesian systems, I said that the ephemeris or the satellite positions from which are derived from the ephemeris or almanac are with respect to Earth-centered, Earth-fixed. That means the coordinate system is fixed to the Earth. So that the rotation of the Earth, although it's in the background, but the coordinates of the satellites at any time are with respect to a non-rotating Earth. And that would be the same, certainly for a ground.
It can't be. If you're going to measure a ping, and the ping has to take in the adjustment of the rotation, i.e., if it's land-based, then the R value is very different to the R value of a geostationary satellite, isn't it? So in terms of mitigation for how we adjust just that straight ping data, we've got to take into account the distance traveled and the amount of rotation, therefore the adjustment of return distance depending on which way the ping's going based on the rotation. All those things must be coded by you, surely, Eric.
Right. Can I add some information in?
Okay, well, let me just
question, Brian. Don't add information. Eric, address that point, please. Surely you deal with that bit of coding.
Yes, there is a small, remember that we have the time of the position at the time of transmission at the satellite, and then the time of reception. During that time, the Earth has rotated or revolved. So yes, and it's a very small correction, but it does need to be taken into account. But
it's a small correction for a land-based, if you presuppose.
Right. For the land-based.
But for a geostationary satellite, it's not, is it? We've got a massive distance we're traveling. This is going to impact not only at the point of a rebound, but then the
Rebound.
distance back, and then how, like I say, the direction of ping in relation to the rotation of the Earth. How do you get the north, south, east, west rate of change? Because that must be crucial for you calculating the ping, because the rate of ping is solely based on where that satellite is, the rate of rotation, and where the ping is coming from. Get it? Yeah, because you kind of need to know where the ping is coming from to work all those things out, don't you?
Definitely. That's why I said that
If we were mitigating with those parameters, but that's not how GPS works, is it?
What do you mean?
Well, you've just described how you don't encode those things into the coding that you do as you.
Okay,
So
there is.
That's not. My point is, it's not. I'm happy with that because you've admitted it. Because you've just said I don't code for that. Yeah. So it doesn't deal with those things, and that I think would be the point of interest. Why doesn't it deal with those things? If you could elaborate why it doesn't need to. Why it's mitigated for.
Well, there is a slight correction because from the time of transmission at the satellite to the reception, because remember, the ephemeris gives you the position of the satellite at the time of transmission, but the signals are received at the time of reception. So there is a small amount of difference between that. The Earth does rotate. But I just also want to say is that the positions of the satellites are known with respect to ECF Cartesian coordinates at any given time. Okay, we have to correct for the slight rotation. And then I was just saying that for a land-based signal source, that doesn't rotate. That's on the, if you want to say it's in the same reference frame. Again, that's another sensitive topic. And so anyway, Adam. Okay.
It's not a sentence. It's a really good point of
Yes.
point. So what you're saying there, when we send the ping, what reference frame?
Or the satellite. The satellite sends the ping, so to speak.
Okay, the satellite sends the ping. Is that then in its own reference frame as the ping travels, whilst the satellite and the Earth that rotateth underneath continues on in its separate reference frame?
Yes, that's the way you could look at it is
do we have to shoot ahead? Is what I'm saying. Is the satellite shooting ahead a little bit? Yeah?
Okay. Well, the thing is that
yes or no?
The signal is transmitted, and the signal is not just a carrier wave. It's a modulated. It has frames in it, and so it has a code applied to it, a very specific code that you can align with when it's received. So when it's transmitted by the receiver, excuse me, that's totally wrong. By the satellite, you could say that it has like the specific part of the signal is time tagged. And so once it leaves the satellite, it follows a path to the receiver. Now, of course, once it leaves the satellite, the satellite, that's out of the picture, so to speak. So it follows the transmission path to the satellite, and then to the receiver. And then when the receiver receives the signal, it knows the time tag of the specific modulation that's contained in the signal. So it knows.
Eric.
Okay.
Eric, do you realize that's not really answering the point? And
well, I guess
it's a little bit embarrassing as a response. So I understand how pings work. I think we could give each other that, yeah? What I'm asking,
I'm sorry, Adam, I'm trying to...
The thing that you've said you don't code for,
what?
Yeah,
okay,
is does the programming account for one reference frame or two? So the ping's gone from your satellite, as you say, off it heads. When it comes back, what is it dealing? What information? What movement of position from the point of firing is it dealing with? What's encoded with in terms of? Because obviously, if we're on a flat Earth, there's nothing else to deal with, is there? It's everything's as it is. Now, let me get to the point, because this is what I want you specifically to address with your coding, how it's dealt with. What systems are we with GPS just dealing with a rotating Earth? Are we dealing with a rotating Earth just within the solar system? Are we dealing with a solar system within the galaxy? Are we dealing with a galaxy rotating in the universe? When it calculates and deals with, because these things are significant, aren't they? In terms of ping, they have to be if they're in different reference frames. Yeah. So how does it deal with that? Because I think you software engineers are brilliant, because I'm just a chemist. But you can see logically within the claim of heliocentrism, it has to deal with these things, doesn't it?
Right. Well, Adam, I respect chemists tremendously, so you don't sell yourself short. I respect that. Also, the second thing is I was trying to answer the question, but I probably was going into too much detail. Based on what you just said, we don't consider solar system motion, galactic motions, etc. We don't consider that. We just are concerned with the satellite positions as they orbit the Earth. And what I was explaining earlier, if you want to consider the amount of rotation between the time of transmission from the satellite in orbit, the time of reception, and correct for the slight rotation of the Earth, that is done, and you can do that into the software. But we don't consider
rotation.
Yes, of the Earth, Earth. If you want to say under the satellites. So, but nothing else.
It admits the second. I'm just slow down, because I'm trying to understand. So it's saying there's a second reference frame.
Okay. The positions of the satellites are with respect to the ECEF coordinate frame, which is fixed to the Earth, and it rotates about it.
The ECEF coordinate is not real. Okay, so I'm happy to step into the heliocentric paradigm, which I'm doing. I'm trying to understand it in that. So, Earth spinning around the sun, yeah, hurtling through the galaxy, through the universes, yeah, all that. You're saying it doesn't deal with that, but what it does mitigate for is the differential of the spinning of the Earth, not its transit through space in terms of where that satellite was a second ago. It doesn't deal with that. It just rebounds it off the spinning Earth and deals with any mitigation for rotation.
Okay. Yes, you can say that, but right.
Okay, thank you. That's what I'm just trying to. Is that what you said? I can say that. I'm trying to clarify what you said. I'm not saying anything. So is that what you said? So it will mitigate for rotation of the Earth.
Okay, I'm going to say yes if I understand. I think I understand what you're saying. Yes, but it's a small correction. But if you want to get,
it's a correction that's in there. It's corrected.
Yes, okay,
for.
I'm going to say,
doesn't matter how small it is. It's corrected for. Yeah.
Right. Even though the coordinate systems should be the same, but there is a time difference. And yes, it's a very small correction. And maybe I should make a presentation or something. But yes,
I understand it. I'm asking whether it's in there, and if you're saying yes, I accept it. I'm not going to challenge it. I just want to know if it's there. It was a point
okay, I'll say
lack
yes.
of knowledge on my behalf. Yeah, so cool. So it is therefore mitigated for this rotation.
Yes.
Cool.
I might add in something there.
Yeah,
right?
let me tell you what you got, Brian. You got about 5 minutes before I'm going to have to go, so make it brief, okay?
Right. It is the 4th of July. So
yeah, I will. I won't go too overboard. When it comes to the coordinates, where the ECEF coordinates, they are spherical coordinates. They try and call them Cartesian, but technically they're not. They're actually spherical. Cartesian, the differential between them is Cartesian use parallel verticals, whereas spherical uses diverging verticals, or diverging zeniths. That is the difference between the two. So when what it is that's using Cartesian, when Cartesian is being used and the surface of the Earth is being referenced, then at that time, right, regardless of whether you think you're on a globe or a flat plane, if you're using Cartesian on the surface, then you're literally treating the surface as a horizontal plane. That all elevations are taken above and below, basically, right? So that's how Cartesian actually works. It can't Cartesian, because it's a grid system, it can't work on a surface, on a curved or spherical surface, if it's going to have diverging zeniths, because none of the corners, edges, and sides of the squares or rectangles are going to meet. That's the problem. They're all going to get warped. So that's why Cartesian works horizontal plane only. Whereas the ECEF, although they're trying to call it Cartesian, is actually spherical coordinates. Now, to give a little bit, there's a load of stuff I could say on this, right? But to give a little bit of information, because Adam got on to me, I can't be just saying that and leaving people hanging. Fair enough. One of the things that the receiver receives is the compass direction to where the signal came from. So when the signal sender sends the signal, the receiver receives its compass direction. So let's say the compass direction of the first signal is northeast, right? What happens is there's a line drawn from northeast. Let's just say if the receiver is in the United States, there's a line from northeast to northwest to southwest. Now, based on the subpoint of the so it doesn't matter if it's ground-based, if it's a satellite, or if it's an airplane. All that matters is they have a coordinates and a compass direction. A ground coordinates, what's known as a subpoint, also the same thing as a GP point in celestial navigation. Once they have that, and that's northwest, they'll draw a line from northwest straight to southeast. Let's just say completely opposite direction, right? Right. Now they don't know where on that line the receiver is, right? They just know somewhere along that line there is the receiver. So let's just say, based on the subpoint of we use the word satellite, based on the subpoint of the satellite, they know the receiver knows, based on the celestial ephemeris, it knows that so many degrees this direction from that subpoint, right, is the GP point of one of the navigational stars, right? That's all it would need for a start, right? It doesn't even need a second signal. Now, it will have other signals, but it doesn't need it, because then that GP point and its compass direction, right, which the receiver will be able to somewhat find out based off of the compass direction of the subpoint of the satellite, let's just say, another line is drawn straight through to the opposite direction. That's two crossing lines. And then it can do that again with 3 and 4 more if it wants, or any amount, and it will find its location based on the crossing of the lines. And that's how it knows where it is. Now, that would work on a spherical surface or a horizontal plane, except for two things. You're using Cartesian, right? Your Cartesian coordinates, you're using that latitude and longitude grid, right? They're the coordinates you're using, and you're also using celestial navigation. So that's the problem. So it's not so much that GPS can't work in that way on a sphere or can't work on a flat plane. It's more of a case of the current claims concerning GPS only put it on a sphere. Now, there is other things I could say that would cement it more for a flat plane, but I'm not going to go into that. Just think about the compass. That's all you have to. That is where the secret is.
Thanks.
The compass direction.
Thanks, Brian. Okay. Let's stop it right there. I'm gonna give you the last word on this, Eric. Be concise, and then we're gonna stop it. Adam, get ready to take us home after Eric.
Okay, I will be very concise. I want to say, QA, thank you for allowing me to be here, and
yep.
I want to say thank you to the Bryans, and Adam. I'm thinking about your question. I think, yes, I could probably have given a better answer, but I hope I've answered it somewhat. And I hope to return and have and speak with everyone again in the future. And I want to wish everyone a nice 4th of July right now.
Thanks, Eric, and you will be welcome back. It was a pleasure talking to you. I think this is an outstanding subject to go through it rationally. No feelings about it, just facts. So I appreciate the discussion. I know everyone in the audience did, because I did. And like I said, we'll welcome you back, hopefully on next QE Live next Tuesday. So appreciate it, sir. Thank you very much. Adam.
Thank you.
Yeah, Eric, pleasure to chat. I appreciated your answer. I was trying to get to an answer. That was the point of my grilling, not to prove a point. And I appreciated the answer. I look forward to our next chats. I think hopefully it should continue. Little apology, Bri. Sorry for being a little bit caught there. Reason being, you know, the standards that I hold myself to. And when I heard that, having criticized Whitsit, I can't do that even to a baller, because that's not the type of engagement I want. I want to be honest with people, and it's not aligning you to it, but we can't have an argument from you and knowing secret knowledge, and I just didn't think that was fair, and it's not, because I don't know what it.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah. So
I agree with you. It's I wanted more to talk about how the claim it works and how that wouldn't work on a globe, as opposed to going into. We went that way, and I had to.
Okay, we're going to wrap this up. We're going to wrap this up, Adam.
And hopefully this is the roundup, because hopefully, even you, my mate, on such a trivial thing, we hold ourselves to certain standards. Even there, don't not call each other out. Don't sit there quietly and nod, and somebody says electrifer. Yeah, we call each other out, and if there's clarity needed, and that's what I did with Eric, we ask for it. It's not calling the whole thing apart, but if somebody says something and clarity is needed, it's required. And if somebody's not being in the spirit of things, shout out Mitchell from Australia with regards to cricket. If you're not playing cricket and holding yourselves to those same standards, right, then I don't want to be involved, because then I'm dealing with something other than what QE appreciated, which is genuine, honest discussion about and sharing of our knowledge. Wherever it leads, I don't care. If it's not genuine and fair, then it's not cricket. Mitchell from Australia, you cheats. I'm done.
You're not done. You have to call out a super chat, and then you have to take us home.
Where's Betty gone?
Betty has to take care. She had to take care of something. So you.
Okay. So shout out Retro Bill, $5 super chat. Cheers, bro. If Godzilla took a bite out of Adam and Brian, he'd need medical attention because they are two sharp cookies. Cheers, Retro Bill. Have a good night, everyone. I will be quiet now.
No, you're not going to be quiet. You're going to take us home.
Well, that's it. To me, I enjoyed tonight's show because it was from there to there and back again.
Okay.
Like a hobbit. But to me, inadvertently, you know, you've called somebody out, and then we've been held to those same standards, and I hope we've demonstrated that we do, even on the minutiae amongst ourselves, even when we're dealing with a baller. Yeah, and I don't mean that as an insult, Eric, but hopefully these are the standards we should work with each other, because that way we might get somewhere. If not, it's just bullshittery.
Yep.
Which is what we've been highlighting.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Adam. And we'll be waiting on that secret knowledge, Brian, next Tuesday. I haven't put you on mute, Brian, yet, but I'm fixing to mute everyone. Next Tuesday will be the secret knowledge unveiling. I guess that's an...
I already gave some away.
Thank God for that.
Next week.
I want some secret knowledge, more secret knowledge, most of it next week, next Tuesday. Got it?
Okay.
Okay. Fair enough. All right, guys. I'm going to close up shop because it is 4th of July. I'm getting ready. I'll tell you what, I'm a mite peckish right now. And I need some foods, some barbecue and some corn on the cob. All right. We'll worry about the fireworks later. Thanks for coming. Hope you enjoyed the show. It was a great discussion. Yes, Tony Wickham, you're going to have to rewind it. Yes, make sure you rewind it. It's outstanding. All right, guys. We'll catch you on the flip side now. be ready for the Ballbusters Friday at 2 p.m. So we're going to roll with that for right now. Friday, 2 p.m., Ballbusters, and they're going to be whacking it out of the park. Appreciate it. QE out.